Well, if it is our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93.
Well, it's time. It's friggin' time already. We need to go ahead and welcome everyone to the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show for our Thursday program. You got anything on your mind right away, Josh?
No, I mean, I'm as ready as a guy could be on a Thursday, I guess. How are you feeling?
I feel all right.
You came in and you Joe Cutlered me pretty much right away when you walked in the door. Before Ultimate F-Off.
Not you personally.
No, just kind of like the week, the day, how you're feeling, that kind of thing.
I told Josh that I stopped caring altogether sometime yesterday afternoon.
I felt it in the force.
Yeah.
There was something off.
Yeah.
I had a spider sense tingling.
Little chill up your spine yesterday afternoon, and that told you that I had stopped caring altogether about the rest of this work week. You know, we're taking a week off next week. Kiss my ass as I'm on my way out the building tomorrow because I'm out and I ain't coming back for a smooth week. How is this possible? People with unlimited personal time off say that it actually sucks. How is that possible?
What?
I've heard that before.
You have heard that before?
Yeah, people say it's kind of a scam.
Okay.
Because, I mean, I'm sure there's folks that have got it figured out and they don't feel that way at all. But I only know 2 people that have it. And
I don't think I know anybody who has all the personal time off they've ever wanted.
It's got to be rare, right? I mean, I just started hearing about this a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And it was from these 2 people. And they both work remotely, so maybe that makes a difference. But they said that you kind of get crap from your bosses and coworkers, even if you don't use what... like, we get 20 days, right? There's the company holidays, and we have 20 days, and that's what happens when you work somewhere 30 years. You get 20 days. But they could take whatever they want, but they probably wouldn't even take those 20 days because of the amount of crap they get. So sometimes you
get guilt
according
tripped?
to them, you use less than maybe you would if they just said, here's your 2 weeks, use it how you want.
So the boss says you get all the time off you want, but then when you take that time off, you'll get a little email or a text there kind of guilt-tripping you.
Yeah, that's what they said. You kind of get some crap.
See, that doesn't bother me. I mean, they can give me all the crap they want. I could live with that. A couple of, text messages or emails or phone calls from the boss whining about your absence.
Yeah.
I could handle that. I could live with that. I could say, well, then, if you don't like it, then limit my time off.
So, and I'm sure that's how some people feel, right? Like here's beer brewing and drinking Jesus. He's got unlimited time off. It's very much a guilt thing. I think I took more vacation when I worked in a job that had a set amount, right? Because everybody knows this is what you get. I've never worked anywhere where it rolls over. Like my mom's did. Her sick time and her vacation time rolled over, and she just rarely took it, so she was able to retire early and cash in.
Oh, that's sweet.
So that's pretty cool. I mean, it's use it or lose it here, and this is really the only full-time job I've ever had. So, and it's never been the same. I mean, we're on, our 3rd company, and it's always been you can't roll it over.
Okay. A lot of this stuff I don't really follow. I rely on Josh when it comes to time off. Matter of fact, it wasn't that long ago, a friend of mine asked me, how many days off you guys get over there? And I said, I got to be honest with you, I really don't know. I take time off when Josh tells me to take time off. But, so you're saying that the unlimited PTO is kind of a built-in mind F?
Oh, I don't know if that's how it's intended, but I can just tell you, I know 2 people that have it, and both of them feel the same way. Didn't your ex-wife have that, Dana? Or I don't know where he went.
He disappeared.
Where'd he go?
I don't know what he's doing over there.
I don't know.
Did he take some time off?
I kind of want to. Nothing's working back here, by the way.
Not until after tomorrow's show that we get to leave. We just looked over into Dana's studio. He's not sitting there anymore.
I can barely hear anything you guys are saying. My headphones aren't working. The mouse isn't working. So you guys just go ahead.
Off. Take some time to yourself.
I'm going to take a couple 5 minutes.
Now, here's the difference. It's not paid time off that you'll be taking, Dana. You're going to be docked in pay for sure. Oh, there he goes again.
He's leaving again.
Well, that's too bad because I think he has said his ex-wife had it, and she didn't like it either.
A listener says, a listener by the name of Ryan has texted in to say, yes, unlimited PTO is a built-in mind F. Here's more information on this because, like I said, I barely pay attention to what we have available to ourselves here. I don't know anyone with unlimited personal time off. A lot of this stuff is very confusing to me to read about it. Unlimited PTO sounds like a dream, they say. But a lot of people say it's nothing to get excited about. Employers are offered unlimited paid time off to attract employees seeking better work-life balance. Okay, that makes sense. On paper, it looks great, but folks say that isn't the case. And I can't believe that. Go ahead.
Here's a texter that says, everyone has unlimited time off. You just might not have a job or any money if you take too much off.
Yeah. I don't get it. But here are some of the reasons. Okay, maybe you already covered some of this, Josh. Unlike traditional personal time off, unused days under unlimited policies don't roll over or get paid out when you leave the company. This means employees might end up with less benefits. God, I'll always need a guy like you around, Josh, someone who understands some of the terminology here. I mean, you're the only guy in the history of this company who has, on more than one occasion, read the company handbook from start to finish, correct?
Correct. I just read the most recent one. Now, you guys all signed that you read it correctly? Yeah,
yes.
Correct, I'm saying?
I read some of it
because
I had to.
Why did you have to?
Like the maternity leave part.
Oh, sure.
All that nonsense.
Explain this to me, Josh. It says here, some view unlimited personal time off as a public relations strategy rather than a genuine benefit, allowing companies to avoid providing a quantifiable perk. What does that mean? What does that mean to normal people?
I think it's just to confuse everybody who hears that.
Yeah, what?
No, somebody says PTO isn't personal time off, it's paid time off. Did we say otherwise?
I've probably been saying it incorrectly. Like I said, I don't follow these things.
Oh, okay, yeah.
What have I been saying?
I guess I didn't notice it if that's what you said. Yeah, it's paid time off.
Paid time off. Sorry, I'm sure I probably used the wrong term.
Okay, yeah, I didn't notice you said it incorrectly.
Paid time off.
I mean, that's different. I mean, shoot, you'd think, yeah, you can take the time off, but you got to come back, finish your work, and we're not going to pay you, but you're guaranteed a job versus, right, they still pay if you don't come in.
Here's the part. Here's one of the elements to this article that grabbed me. Employees report feeling guilty about taking extended vacations. Come on, you can't shake that?
I would if I felt like I was screwing over coworkers.
You're the most Catholic guy on planet Earth. You're gonna feel guilt no matter what move you make.
Right. I mean, if I felt like if I was, if coworkers had to pick up the slack or it's making somebody else's job miserable, I'd feel. We take time off at the same time, so that I don't have to feel that way. We don't have to feel that way.
Hopefully,
less days are affected through the year.
Hopefully, and this is the boss's job. Hopefully, it's set up to where if you take time off, extended time off, it doesn't bone everyone else in the building. Although I can understand you being worried about that, that's something you shouldn't have to worry about. That's something the boss should make sure does not happen. If Josh takes 2 weeks off, we're not all going to be screwed.
Fauché Maintenance Jesus said he has unlimited time off. It's awesome, but that's because my boss is cool. No guilt trips.
Sorry, PTO stands for paid time off, not personal time off. I'm new to this. I apologize. So there you go. I can't believe. I'd like to try it myself before I determine whether unlimited paid time off is a hindrance, is a burden.
Sometimes having more than a day or two off, it's actually a lot more work beforehand and afterwards where it's not even really worth it. And you're still working over vacation mostly. And I think a lot of the people that have this unlimited say the same thing, that, I'm still doing something, checking in, that kind of stuff.
Ah, man.
Now, with Ashley, maybe you read this, when you're on maternity leave, we can't talk anything about work.
Yeah, it's crazy how strict it is.
Do you know does anyone know, okay, Mr. Company Handbook, why is that? I'm glad you brought that up. That's really strange to me.
It's weird.
When you take maternity leave, we are not allowed to contact Ashley about anything work-related.
Nothing work-related.
Why is that?
Oh, I think just so she can focus on our nephew, and doesn't have to worry about work stuff, that kind of thing. And I don't know, I forgot, I was going to ask the boss if that's a company policy or if that's a law. I don't know.
That's really interesting.
Yeah,
Ashley?
I'm not sure, no.
And how much is this? How long is this maternity leave?
6 weeks.
God damn!
It's funny.
No.
When
it's a long time, but it's not going to feel like it. It's going to fly by.
It will to us.
I'm sure it will. They all do. Time off always flies by way quicker than you wanted to.
I was, I've been so excited for this, almost weirdly excited.
It has been kind of weird.
Yeah, I'm so pumped.
Yeah.
And then my wife brought up just like a few days ago, what are you guys going to do when Ashley's gone? And then I got really depressed. I'm like, I don't know. I need to see her every day.
And then the depression set in.
Now I'm mad at her for being pregnant.
Sorry, I
can't believe you did this to me.
You are the most excited man I've ever seen about a baby, an upcoming baby. How do you say it in the business?
And I can't explain it. I wasn't anticipating this. I don't know why.
You get baby fever.
I don't. That's the thing.
Yes, you do.
I do now.
Yeah,
right
you
the
do.
second I do. Yeah. But I've never had that before. Even when my son was born, I'm like, I don't get it. Why do people like babies? I'm useless. They're loud. He can't communicate. He can't do anything cool. Why do people like this?
They can't do anything cool.
Were you useless when your children were tiny?
I was just there for my wife, basically.
But were you made useless by your wife where she said, I'll handle this, or did you really stumble and bumble through whatever responsibilities are there when a baby is born?
Well, I noticed at least my kid.
I can't picture you being terrible at it.
Well,
There's
she
just
did
not much for you to do.
That's it. Like, she did pretty much everything, and she wanted to, right? She wanted to do everything, and so I had to help and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I'd ask to change a diaper or something like that. The baby's not hers. And she...
So you were willing to try these things, but your wife said, no, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I basically was just there to, hey... kind of like if, let's say I went after this and became, I worked at a auto body shop or something.
How much time off do you have?
Well, it's unlimited.
Unlimited.
Yeah. So I'm getting paid from both jobs. I go, I wouldn't be the guy fixing the car. I'd be the guy going, hey, go grab me that socket wrench. And then I'd have to ask another guy what a socket wrench is. Then I'd go grab it and hand it to him. I think that's pretty much how it was when my kid was born. I was just the go-get stuff guy.
Sure.
And, hey, run to the store and get this or help me find this.
Sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's all you're really good for.
One of my oldest friends, when his first child was born, he reached for the diaper and he reached for the baby. Like first day they brought the thing home from the hospital, he says, okay, I'll do this and I'll do that. And his wife said, no, you won't. And he said, what are you talking about? I'd like to help. And she said, no, I got it.
Oh.
I don't know if that was a control power move or it was an I don't trust you kind of a move. Like, hey, look, I know you. You'll drop this damn thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but she took all responsibility away from him, and he said, okay, 6 weeks.
No, people
Ashley.
are texting in saying that 6 weeks is nothing.
What do you mean
Yeah,
nothing?
it's really not.
I didn't know how much it was. My wife wasn't working at the time. I didn't know. 6 weeks seemed like a bunch to me, but I guess not. According to texters, that's nothing at all.
So
12 weeks.
What they mean by that is
ideal.
That's the low end of your average maternity leave?
Yeah.
Oh.
Wait, so what is it you said, 12 weeks?
Yeah, 12 weeks is more average now.
Do you mind me asking you a bit of a personal question?
Go for it.
Is that paid, or is it just saying, hey, your job's here when you come back?
Paid.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
Word?
I think that's the most important part, right?
Yeah, that makes a big difference.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be here. I'll be here after 6 weeks.
It'll fly by. Josh, that's funny that because you have been showing signs of baby fever from the get-go.
Oh, and I know it's a little odd.
You're asking her questions all the
I love
time
it.
off air. You refer to this child as your nephew.
Yep.
But that cracks me up that whatever you said a day or two ago, you're sitting around the house again, all excited about the birth of this baby. So you went from excitement, and then your wife says, well, what are you going to do when Ashley's not on the radio show? And then the depression set in.
I never thought. I just pictured it's all of us like normal. There's Ashley, and then there's a car seat next to her with our nephew here every day.
6 weeks without Smashley.
This guy says, as a man, I get 10 weeks.
I remember the first time.
Jealous.
I'm so friggin' naive. I know. I'll admit it. There's a lot of details that I don't follow. Number one, time off. I just follow orders is what I follow. I wait for Josh to say, we've got this. Okay, I'll stay home then. I also am completely naive to parenting. The first time we talked about this maternity and paternity leave, I couldn't friggin' believe it. I couldn't believe it. Really? You can just 10 weeks, 12 weeks, just all to yourself? That's incredible. Sounds great. I'm sure it's a lot of work, but it sounds great.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
You're gonna be busy.
I'm gonna get way less sleep than I do with coming to work.
I agree. There's probably gonna be times where you wish you could go to work versus dealing with what you're dealing.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah, but why would you do this to me?
I'm so sorry.
What is she doing to you?
She got pregnant and she's going to be gone for 6 weeks.
I know.
Never once. Oh,
I didn't
my wife hates whores too. Jesus said that I should ask for some uncle leave. Sorry, guys, I can't come in next week. I get a week off.
I got some uncle days.
Yeah.
Yep.
I got
I'm
some
looking
uncle
at
duties.
a lot of
You
uncle
have to be
days.
available whenever I need you. So obviously you can't work.
Got to take the uncle days, or else they'll just disappear. You never get them back.
My wife, I think, could win a diaper changing speed contest.
I bet she could.
I mean, it's unbelievable how quick she could do it. By the time I turn around, grab the baby powder or whatever, she's got it done. It's unreal.
You would just see some baby arms and legs flailing for a second or two, and it was over.
Yeah. I don't know. So it was like, I think it was 2 companies ago when my son was born. And I did. I mean, we had him induced on a Friday, so I wouldn't have to take off any work. We were back on Monday, that kind of thing. I don't know if we had paternity leave then. I probably wouldn't have took it unless she needed me to.
Again,
but I mean, that's one of I could leave immediately after work if I had to get home and help her out. So
yeah,
our schedule is easier for that.
Yeah, that
we can
does
do most
help
of
a
our
lot.
work from home.
That's why I'm not really worried about only getting 6 weeks of maternity leave because, I mean, these hours make it simple where we're really lucky we'll never need daycare. So.
All new to me, a brand new world to me. So it's really interesting to hear what you folks know about it.
Yeah, we never needed daycare either, luckily. I mean, I've got friends who have had to have daycare, and the cost is outrageous. I had no idea it was that much. It's like you could have a second home somewhere. Especially if you got, let's say you have twins, you got a couple of babies.
Oh, my gosh, no.
That's too bad that the cost is so high for daycare. You would hope that folks wouldn't have to, be scraping up money for that. How about
that's something where you might be a little nervous taking the lowest bid. Why is this so cheap?
Yeah, right.
When everybody else is pretty expensive.
You don't take the one off Craigslist or something?
So true.
You peer in the window of the joint, they've got cages down in the basement. Oh, God, no wonder this doesn't cost much. They just lock the kid up and give him a bucket of water like a dog. How about this type of a situation on the topic of parenting? Do you know anybody who's been in this situation? I know 2 guys who both impregnated a woman on a one-night stand. I don't know how that happens.
It's a mystery.
And were fully prepared throughout some of the pregnancy to be there for that child, be there, whatever that might mean, to be a supportive parent in whatever way the couple decides to work that out, right? And then before the children were born, the woman said, yeah, no thanks. And the guy said, but I'm ready to do this or that, and I'm happy to be this type of a dad or that type of a dad for this child and for you? And the women said, yeah, no. And they said, okay. Do you know anyone who's been in that situation?
Well, a friend, you know this guy too. He knocked up his babysitter when he was 12 years old.
Oh, wow.
So he started out with like a penthouse letter, and then things really didn't go so well for him in the romantic department until he was like in his 20s, and even then it was kind of a nightmare. I mean,
12 years old.
I didn't even know that could happen at the age of 12. And he never met his kid, never had, I don't even know. I think he knows the kid's name, but that's it. He had nothing to do with it.
How old was the babysitter?
She was, so he said he was 12.
God.
She was about 19.
Oh, God. That's against the
Gross.
law.
I know.
Yeah,
Disgusting.
ew.
So the baby was born while he was a 6th grader.
Right?
7th grader maybe at that
Oh, my
point.
gosh. What a nightmare.
And she said bye, and he said K. And what? You said...
Yeah, I don't know who said bye, right? I don't know if his parents said, we're not dealing with this.
That's insanity.
Or if he was given an he's 12. He's not going to be going out and getting a pipe fitter job or something to earn some money.
No.
So, yeah, I don't know how that necessarily worked out. Because when I met him, he was in his 20s. And I can't remember how it came up, but he's like, oh, I have a daughter. I'm like, oh, I've never heard you talk about her. He's like, well, that's because I've never met her. And he told me the story. Because I'm like, your daughter seems pretty old.
Did his parents seek any action against this babysitter?
Boy,
he never told you any stories?
One way or the other.
That's against the law. Yeah. Both of the stories, both of the friends I have who have been in that situation, very interesting to me. One of them, I don't think to this day has any idea whatever came of that child, because the woman said, thanks, but no thanks. Thank you for supporting. She was, I don't know, maybe halfway through the pregnancy or something. And she said, it's very kind of you to, support me or make the effort. But I'm going to go off and do this on my own. Nice knowing you. I remember, because I saw the guy every week. He was a bartender at one of my favorite bars. So I saw him damn near every week. And at first, he was very stressed by the situation. Stressed but excited by saying, it wasn't either of our perfect scenarios, meaning he and the woman, but we're doing our best, and, it was a one-night stand. We're getting to know each other. We've been kind of dating, so we can, and I'm ready for this. But you'd see him kind of sweating it out once in a while. Then one night I walked into the bar, and I saw kind of a different posture, a more relaxed character. And I said, what's going on here? And he said, well, my baby mama just told me goodbye. And he had mixed emotions about it. The other guy, the other friend of mine who was in that situation, I believe the woman still sends him pictures of his children who he's never met and says hello now and again.
Crazy.
There's all types out there, you know what? There's all different approaches to the thing.
All right, Nick, here's some info from the Brother and Sisterhood on the cost of daycare. Here's one person. $26,000 a year for 2 kids.
No.
My buddy has 3 kids. This is from Dirt Slinging Jesus. 3 kids aging from 1 to 5. He pays $700 a week. Dumbass welder Jesus doesn't miss the days when he had 2 kids in daycare for $2,000 a month.
Jesus.
That's what I heard. My neighbor had 2 kids in daycare, and it was $2,000 a month. And then he got a bit of a break when he had this 3rd kid in daycare, and it was $2,500 a month. Vertically Challenged Jesus said, when my son was a baby, daycare cost us $13,000 a year, and that was part-time. 3 kids in daycare at once, $5,000 a month, says Babyface Destroyer Jesus.
What are we doing here, and when do we open the half-ass morning show daycare?
Well, I'll tell you what. I don't want to give the Jesus name in case she doesn't want me to. Mm-hmm. She was saying there's quite a discrepancy between what a parent pays and what the actual person taking care of your kid makes. If they work for a company of some sort.
Sure.
That's terrible.
I suppose you gotta get licenses and stuff. You can't just have people just drop kids off here and we'll look after them during the show for a couple $100.
Smashley, you're a pretty tough cookie.
Yeah, for the most part.
Independent person.
I try to be.
Yeah. Let's say this baby was a one-night stand baby. Let's say, the guy, you liked him, but at the same time, it was just a one-night stand. Would you be able to look that sumbitch in the eye and say, you know what, bruh, you're off the hook. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go in a different direction here.
No, I would probably try
you think
to make the kid involved. Yeah, dads are good for kids, right?
But you
depends on the dad.
Find another
that's
dad.
True.
You know what I mean?
Find a different one.
It
depends.
You know what I mean? Just because it isn't the birth dad, if that's the term, I don't know. Just because it isn't the legitimate dad doesn't mean there isn't a good dad out there who could do the raising.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I'd probably try. Might as well give it a shot. If it doesn't work, that sucks, but
I've also been on the front lines for that phone call where a grown child is ready to meet their dad for the first time. One of the craziest things I've ever seen.
Oh, that's an interesting phone call.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was on the front lines for that. Was hanging out with this family, knew them very well. Still consider them friends. I haven't seen them in years now, but a couple of the sons in their family were pretty reckless, Josh, with their, how should I say this, pecker. And they had made a few babies with a few different women, that kind of a thing, right? So it was already an established thing in this family that the males were a little reckless with their baby making. And the gimmick had worn their mother out a little bit, trying to keep track of all these babies that were being made with all these different women. Okay, which kid is coming over to see their grandmother today? Oh, that one? And which mother does that come from? You could tell the mother was a little worn out on the gimmick. And then one day, and I just happened to be there, when their phone rang, and Mom answers the phone. Hello. No, he's not here right now. Who, may I ask, is calling? Oh. Okay, I'll tell him as soon as he gets in. Goodbye. And Mom says, well, and one of the reckless sons, Donnie, of course, was the name. One of the reckless sons, Donnie, he wasn't there at the time. And Mom says, well, when Donnie comes back to the house, I've got some news for him. And we all said, well, what's the news? And she said, well, that was a lady named Missy who called to inform Donnie that his 18-year-old son that he's totally unaware of is ready to meet him for the first time.
Oh.
And it was just this stunned. I mean, not that most folks were shocked because of the track record of, like I mentioned, the guys in this family. But the best part about it was Mom, who had kept it together through all these years. She says this, my goodness, isn't there any men in this family who bother to wear a rubber? She finally snapped. Now, I wasn't there when Donnie got home for Mom to tell him, oh, by the way, Donnie, I got a phone call from a woman who wants you to meet her adult child who belongs to you. I wasn't there for that. But I wish I would have been.
Yeah, I can't imagine getting that phone call.
Jeez.
Yeah, people in that family refuse to pull out, or their timing is terrible. One of the two.
Oh. I've told you before, my wife forbids me from that website. What is that website again where you can find out all kinds of family stuff?
Oh, like a 23andMe or one of those family tree websites?
She's forbidden me to ever log on to that, log
no
into
DNA.
that. She's
probably for the best.
Don't you dare look
That's a good
that
idea.
up. All right. What a crowd we've got out there. One day away from Ultimate F-Off Day.
Beautiful.
It is a good feeling.
Yep.
You feel good?
Oh, yeah.
Ashley? We all do. Except for Dana over there, he seems a little lost. We got to take a break. We'll find out what the hell's going on in Dana's studio. We'll come back here in a few minutes on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, if it isn't our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.
You buy a pair of socks, that's 2 socks. You buy a pair of Bombas socks, that's 4 socks. Because one purchased is one donated. Socks are the #1 most requested clothing item in homeless shelters. So when you buy a pair of super comfortable Bombas socks, you're also donating a pair. Bombas customers have powered over 150 million donations. So Bombas would like to thank you 150 million times. But we only have like 30 seconds. Go to bombas.com/listen and use code LISTEN for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com/listen and use code LISTEN at checkout.
The Bigger Pockets Podcast Network is your home for real estate investing.
So why real estate?
We keep saying it, but the housing market is shifting more and more towards a buyer's market every week.
Guess what, folks? You can still buy real estate today.
You can buy a quality rental property today
And build an investment portfolio that cash flows monthly.
These are my favorite markets for cash flow.
And build wealth long term.
The world has changed, but the best way to invest in real estate hasn't.
Search for the Bigger Pockets Real Estate Show anywhere you listen to your podcasts.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Cubby,
I'm here for you.
you're my best friend. Whatever this world can give to me, I got you. Cubby's my best friend. Did we ever tell you the story of what Josh and I did to officially become best friends?
I hope it was sex.
There was a ritual. We were just talking about it off air, Josh. But I suppose maybe it's better we keep that a secret.
You don't want to share that one?
No. Ashley heard it. You won't tell anybody what we did to become best friends, did you, Ashley?
No, believe me, I don't want to.
Ashley believes in snitches get stitches. She would never violate any trust.
No, of course not.
All right. Stupid news is going to go like this here. First off, many years ago, I watched a gal stab her boyfriend with a fork, and the fork stood up straight out of his arm.
Like a comedy.
It was frightening, but also hilarious. This was while we were all seated at a restaurant late at night after a long day of binge drinking. And I remember after the fact asking the gal who did the stabbing, I asked her, why the hell did you do that? And she said, because the waitress forgot to put any knives on the table.
I think of that when I've watched Talladega Nights, that scene where he stabs himself.
Yeah.
And I think of that story every time.
I saw that happen.
I've never seen anything like that in person.
Yoink! She came down hard onto his forearm with a fork, and it stood straight out of the sumbitch.
Ouch.
A gal out there in California is looking at 3 felony charges because she went ahead and attacked her mama with a fork. She and her mother got into one hell of an argument. So a gal by the name of Christina Peniston.
What?
I'm not playing with you. A gal by the name of Christina Peniston, who's up to 35 years old already. She's been charged with criminal threats, false imprisonment, and assault with a deadly weapon on her mama.
Got a text here from someone who was stabbed in the hand with a fork on a first date. And they still dated for another month and a half.
Sex must have been great.
It's twice now you've brought sex up. Anything going on you need to tell us about, Dana?
Well, you mentioned that how you became best friends. I assumed it must have been sexual in nature.
Why would you assume something like that?
Well, technically, you had hoped it was something in sexual.
Maybe that's what it was, Josh.
Maybe we killed a guy. Why would you assume that it was some kind of a sexual thing?
Again, I think like Josh said, I was just kind of secretly hoping in my head to get a nice visual picture.
Now, Wisco Maple Syrup Jesus said, Ashley, I mentioned you believe in snitches get stitches.
Yeah.
And he said, unless it's snitching on her boyfriend's tinted windows, then she'll snitch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when we had the state troopers in last, you told them that you really want him to get pulled over and get a ticket for those things.
Yeah, he's cocky about it. That's why.
Or snitching on your boyfriend for checking out wieners at the urinals.
Yeah,
That's
he deserved
true.
that.
Yeah, so there's one guy whose secrets you don't keep.
Yeah. His are too funny not to share.
I agree.
This guy who texted in, Josh, and said he was stabbed in the hand with a fork on a first date. Did he give you any details on this? Was this accidental?
No, he did not give me details.
Oh, he didn't
to answer
give you-
that first part. Yeah, get back to us if you don't mind and tell us, was that an accident somehow?
Because
or-
when I saw a girlfriend stab her boyfriend with a fork at a restaurant at 3 o'clock in the morning, it was out of anger. And like I said, it was kind of frightening. What had happened was we were all very drunk. And had spent all day together drinking, 6-8 of us. And at one point or another, we stopped by the sex shop in town, the toy shop. And this gal's boyfriend had bought an enormous rubber fist.
That's fun.
Yeah.
It is.
Enormous rubber fist.
To just walk around with.
I mean, you got to work your way up to that, right? That can't be your
so.
first ever sex shop purchase.
If you, Cubby, yes, if you start with a rubber fist, you're going to end up in the emergency room.
I realize this is probably a stupid question, but do people buy that primarily for humor, or is it like a legit, I want this in my butt?
It depends
I don't know.
it depends on who you are and how you operate. In this particular case, he bought it as a joke. And so for a couple hours that evening, he was, swinging it like a baseball bat. He was pounding it on the bar when he needed another drink. It was used, in that case, it was used for comedic purposes. But there's some people who are very comfortable using it in a sexual nature. So while we're sitting at the restaurant, this guy is continuing to tease his girlfriend with the rubber fist. He's hitting her over the top of the head with it. He's reaching for her French fries with his rubber fist. And she finally said, "Son of a bitch!" And she grabbed a fork and stabbed him. She snapped.
Was she a volatile person?
Yes.
Oh, so even sober, she's a little volatile, but the
Yes.
drinking obviously brought that out of her. All right, we have an update from the guy that was stabbed in the hand. I reached for her food as a joke. Then he says, we never banged. We never even kissed. He said, I was bored. I thought she looked like a hot Russian when she wore a tracksuit, so I think you could understand. That's why he stayed.
What?
Guy's got a hot
So
Russian
odd,
fetish.
specific.
Every time you put on that tracksuit,
What?
you look like a hot Russian.
This gal, Christina Penistown, who stabbed her mother with a fork. She also allegedly spat at her mother. Don't do it, dude. Don't.
No.
Just don't.
I don't even know where the button is.
Please look into my eyes.
All right, here I am looking into your eyes.
Please don't.
I won't. I sneezed on the button. There's nothing I could do. Don't look at me that way. Dana, make a sex joke.
Those are just disappointing eyes he's giving you right now.
I sneezed and I hit the button. There's no way I could have done that on
Guess
purpose.
what, Ashley?
What?
You're my new favorite coworker.
Sorry, Josh.
This woman,
I deserved it.
Christina Penistown, she also shoved her mother down onto a sofa. Oh, I'll shove your mother down onto a sofa. And then she hauled out the fork and stabbed her mother. The mother was able to fight her off and was not harmed.
Do you guys call it a sofa or do you say couch? I say
I
couch.
say couch.
Couch.
Did everybody's grandmother say Davenport, or is that because mine was from Iowa?
Not only did my grandmother say Davenport, but also my mother would use that word at times.
Davenport?
Yes.
Then for the toilet, was that the stool? My grandma called it the stool. I grew up with my grandma.
I believe it was a stool. My dad always called it the head, of course.
The head, yep.
There's also some information in here about Christina Peanistown. There's some information here on how she likes to smoke opium rocks.
You don't hear about opium too much anymore.
No.
For her.
Yeah, let's bring opium back.
So there you go. I've never been that mad at my mother, but then again, I've never smoked opium rocks. What's the closest any of you have come to imprisoning and then stabbing your mother?
Oh.
Nowhere.
Nowhere close?
No.
Can't even touch that.
Okay. Just curious.
I've never yelled at my mother, snapped at my... I can't imagine spitting or stabbing my mother.
You've never yelled at your mother?
No.
What?
What the hell?
Never once. Well, there's still time.
What kind of perfect little character are you trying to make yourself out to be?
Well, if I'm to believe the brother and sisterhood, she might be a little promiscuous with my friends in the listening audience, so maybe someday I'll snap at her for that.
Yeah, you'll never yell at your mother, but you'll disregard the wishes of your best friend live on the radio.
That was due to a sneeze, which you know are tough to control.
You've never sneezed.
This texter said they got stabbed in the head at the Cheesecake Factory at Caesar's Palace on his bachelor party, and he sent a picture. He's bleeding pretty good.
What was he stabbed with?
It doesn't say. Yeah, get back to us if you don't mind.
Was it a friendly stab? Was it a friendly stabbing, a mutual stabbing?
Like a joke stabbing? Because both of us were stabbed by a friend as a joke by a pencil.
Oh, it wasn't a joke.
Oh, it wasn't?
Yeah, no.
Oh, my buddy was a joke. I thought yours was too. And
No.
I still have the lead in my palm.
Again, I think it's always notable the similarities, the similar incidents that Josh and I experienced as children before we knew each other. It is, I think, notable. Before we even knew each other, before this perfect friendship began, we had lots and lots of similar experiences, and this is one of them. When I was stabbed with a pencil, it was my best friend and next-door neighbor, Pistol Pete from across the street. I believe we were in 3rd or 4th grade, and we got in a vicious as 3rd and 4th grade kids can be.
Yeah.
We got into a vicious fight in class, and Pistol Pete stabbed me with a pencil.
So I just went and showed Ashley the lead or whatever it is, still in my hand. And she pulled out her hand. She's got one too.
Was
Yeah.
it also?
What was your story?
I did it myself.
Okay.
I was just sitting at my desk. I remember messing around with a pencil after we were done doing some type of quiz. And one of the times I caught the pencil, I caught it weird.
Oh.
And it stabbed me in the hand.
It wasn't
it's been there
intentional.
forever.
It wasn't intentional self-mutilation.
No.
All right,
I
we have
wasn't into that.
part 2 on our Cheesecake Factory and Caesar's Palace bachelor party stabbing. Here's the first follow-up. It was a butter knife. All right, so now I'm waiting for more details. I texted him and said, all right, send us more details.
Okay, it was a
stabbed in the head with a butter knife.
I once saw a guy stab himself with a screwdriver.
On accident, slipped?
Yeah, that was
I've
pretty.
done that, but it wasn't too bad.
That was pretty incredible.
Did it go through his hand or something like that?
No, it went into his the back of his leg. This was my early days of piloting the Zamboni at Wayzata Ice Arena when I was a young feller. And the dude who trained me in, great guy. I think he's gone now. Great guy. He, when he came around the corner, he took that Zamboni gig pretty seriously, the guy that trained me in. He always wore a snowmobile suit.
Cute.
Because it was warm. And he always had a tool belt on. Full of everything you could imagine. And he's standing out on the ice saying, now the key to the gig is to go this way and that way. And whip, 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 whip. His feet went out from under him and he goes up in the air, comes down, and the screwdriver stabbed him in the back.
No.
As someone who loves seeing people in pain, I bet that was one of the best days of your life, Nick.
I had to chew on my lower lip not to laugh out loud in the guy's face. I'd known him for about 10 minutes.
Have you guys ever had that happen?
What?
You stab yourself with a screwdriver?
Oh, I just did it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so
it was a drill that yeah.
Oh, that's even worse.
Oh, it hurt like a bitch, yeah.
Yeah, that really hurts.
Yeah.
All right, this person texts, I don't have a Jesus or Jesus name. I dreamt about swearing at my mother, Oh, I'm sorry. If I dreamt about swearing at my mother, I would wake up and apologize.
Another person said that?
Yeah.
So there's someone else in town that's as innocent as you are?
Yeah, there's a lot of people claiming they stabbed my mother with a, quote, you know what, ha, 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 they say.
And they probably yelled at her, too. Get those pants off.
Oh, Jesus.
Lord.
Start that friggin', start up the video.
Oh.
Hit record on that thing. I'm ready over here, woman.
All right, so Warehouse She Jesus said when I was in her slut days, she was in her slut days between 2002 and 2006.
Oh.
That's about when my slut days were, somewhere around there.
Funny the two of you didn't hook up and cause a grease fire or something.
Mine was closer to 2 years than her 4 years there.
Yeah.
She said a guy asked if he could fist her, and she said, I'm not that loose. Jeez. Let's just say he tried. Oh, wait, I should have pre-read the rest of this. It got a little graphic. He tried, and it didn't work out for him very well.
Well, at least they tried.
Yeah. Gave the old college try.
Good for you. What's your name again?
That is, where did it go? Warehouse She Jesus.
2002 through 6? I would have been there for you if you would have asked.
Yeah, I wonder how slutty she got. My slut, for me, I more mean like I was dating more than one person.
Yeah, you have a very different...
At the same time.
You have a very different definition for what sluttiness is,
Yeah,
Josh.
and everyone knew it wasn't a committed thing. But yeah, for me... And so, by the way, this is not slut-shaming of anyone else. It's more making fun of myself.
No, I know. Yeah, Josh's definition of slutting it up is, I went to dinner with a gal and we split the bill.
And then the next night, I went to a different chain restaurant with a different gal, and we split the bill.
I love that you threw in chain restaurant, because that's about right.
Yeah, it is for you. You love them. I do, too. I'm not slut-shaming chain restaurants. They rule.
This got Cubby? Yeah, I called 2 women in one night. The gal who just texted in tried fisting. There are very different definitions for sluttiness, depending on who you are. You know.
Okay, I got to change the term I use.
Yeah.
Then.
Yeah. All right.
More promiscuous. Does that work? Then
even that's still a stretch.
But I was, you guys know what doing it is, right?
Doing it.
Yeah.
I did it with a couple of people.
And we're happy for you.
All in 1 year.
All right, if...
with my wiener.
Man, you're filthy.
Yeah, man, that's just gross. You are a slut.
If you're a true blue social media maniac, and we're surrounded by them these days, if you're a full-on, all-in, dedicated social media maniac, you must share every aspect of your life online. It's as natural as breathing for you. And as we've seen and discussed before, even effing crooks on the run from the law, where their very freedom is at stake, must be seen on social media. Going unnoticed online and being irrelevant for even a day is a worse fate than death for these people. You know, that prison break in New Orleans, it's been a big story the last few days, has it not, Josh?
Yeah.
Four of the 10 escaped inmates have been arrested already.
They got another one. So, yeah, half of them are still on the run. We were talking yesterday very briefly that people online, speaking of online stuff, are taking bets on who's the last inmate that's going to be captured.
Oh, yeah. So I'm sure you know where I'm going with this. One of those fools who escaped from the prison in New Orleans was captured just hours after being seen, everyone say it with me, on social media. Kendall Miles is the dude's name. He couldn't help himself. He had to be recognized. He posted a video to Instagram where he says, I'm fresh out.
Oh, wow.
And some folks would say, of what? But what he means is, I'm free. Just a few hours later, he was arrested while wandering around New Orleans.
That's so awesome.
Chose social media over freedom, Cubby.
I joke, and I've heard cops say it too, so it's their joke, really, that they joke that they invented social media. And it's one of the best things for cops. They catch people that just can't get out of their own way.
This guy was just strolling around Bourbon Street. Not exactly trying to lay low. I've been on Bourbon Street. Half the crowd is cops.
Yeah.
So, like Josh said, 5 remain on the run. Many believe they could still be in New Orleans, hidden by family and friends. I think you told us this information yesterday, Josh. An employee of the jail has been arrested. She was an inside job. Did you not tell us that yesterday?
So, yeah, they do believe there was an inside job.
Yeah.
The guy that they talked to was a custodian, and he's claiming, and it's possibly true, that when he went and did his thing, he was unclogging a toilet because they escaped from behind a toilet where some people said, oh, you're the one that helped him out. So he's saying, and he has a pretty believable story from what I read that I had nothing to do with it. But 2 women have been arrested for helping them once they were on the outside.
Okay.
So I don't know what's going to happen with this guy or if he's guilty or if he's not guilty, but he's saying, no, I had nothing to do with it.
He had to shut the water off in order to fix this toilet
unclog
clog.
a toilet.
And some are saying, well, you shut the water off so the guys could pull that toilet away from the wall and crawl through a hole. He's saying, no, I just shut the water off because there was a giant friggin' turd in there that I had to. Anyway.
Oh,
Did you hear this part? The escapees wrote "too easy" on the wall of the room they escaped from.
Oh,
Yeah.
don't be ridiculous.
Why you got to be dicks about it?
In my slut years, you could have called me too easy.
Yes,
you
of
could
course.
have spelled it kind of funky or whatever you wanted.
There was one night, yes, where you went out on a date while wearing sandals. Yes, you were slutting it up terribly.
No socks. My feet were completely nude.
If I'm the warden, once all these dopes are back behind bars, I have the phrase "too easy" written on the wall of each of their cells for the remainder of their stay.
I'm with you. And you know what? There's plenty of sheriffs that would make sure that happened.
Oh, yeah. And also, Josh, if I'm the warden, don't you dare call me obtuse.
I might be shallow. I might be mundane, but I am not obtuse.
I'll throw your carcass into solitary for a long time if you refer to me as obtuse.
Now,
What movie?
Shawshank Redemption.
Gamer Jesus texted in, and he says, this could be a bit worse than an arm fork. Sure, getting stabbed with an arm fork. And the picture he sent is quite graphic. It looks like somebody tried to de-pit an avocado. Oh. And it went through the pit, went through the avocado, and went through the hand. Oh.
My gosh.
I've seen some injuries. When I worked in restaurants, I learned you got to be very careful with those. They ended up using spoons instead of knives because of how dangerous it was.
This dude had something stabbed through his hand?
Yeah, big knife right through it. If you want, it's pretty graphic, but if you check out Gamer Jesus.
I love Gamer Jesus. I'm not going to look at that photo.
I do too. Until right now, I wish there was a bit of a warning.
More anxiety than hair. Jesus wants to know if I'm okay being called acute.
You are acute.
Yeah, I can live with that one. There's a lot of laughs to be had, as we all know. There's a lot of laughs to be had when a dude tries too hard to impress the chicks and ends up looking like a total jackhole.
I mean, we've all been there, haven't we? Maybe you're a little out of character. The biggest fail for me, you could even call it an epic fail if you want, was our school and Richfield High School. A lot of us, we'd meet at this McDonald's in Richfield. And there was, at the time, it's completely different now, but there's a huge parking lot. It was like you go down this big hill, when I'd bike, which was all the time, and then we'd just kind of like skid out and do a 180 and then pull our bikes into the bike rack, right?
That sounds pretty impressive to me.
And right there, that bike rack, all the windows were right, huge wall of windows, and everybody sat up at those windows and could see it, and we thought we were so cool.
There's nothing more attractive, I think, to a 12, 13-year-old girl than a boy of her similar age squeaking the back tire of his 10-speed as he enters the McDonald's parking lot.
It was a BMX bike.
A what?
A BMX bike.
Okay, so that was your thing. You'd come ripping in and you'd
all the
park
time.
your bicycle.
And we thought we were super cool, right?
Yeah.
So we couldn't wait to get inside and watch some of the older kids put ketchup on pickles and throw them on the ceiling. That was just kind of what you did.
Nothing but fun. Nothing but fun.
But now I did it one time, and I wasn't smart enough to realize they had just put new gravel down. And so I went a lot further that I intended.
You skidded
and
like
I wiped out so bad, and I was bleeding so bad.
gravel stuck in the palms of your hands.
And there's all these like tough guys with leather jackets and football team, because everybody would go there after school.
Right.
And I looked like the biggest idiot of all time.
Please-
And it was just because I was trying to impress the chicks that
trying
were
to impress the chicks.
Please tell me you did you got up, you're like, no, I'm good. I meant to do that as you're holding back tears and blood
absolutely.
running down your hands.
Yeah, I was totally...
No, I'm good. I'm still here. I'm going to get a burger.
I saw stars. I didn't know what day it was.
I mean, but here's the thing. You were, what, 12?
Well, so it would have been 13 or 14.
Okay,
Oh,
I mean-
no, it was high school, so about 14.
I'm sure I made I know I've made an ass out of myself hundreds of times, specifically to impress a woman as a grown person. I really can't think of anything. The only thing that I can think of, I was also around 12 years old, and you know the story where I jumped on a moving freight train to impress some gals when I was a sixth grader, 12 years old, whatever.
I can't think of anything as an adult either.
No, that freight train hit the gas, and I damn near ended up in Iowa because suddenly it dawned on me, oh, my God, if I don't jump off now. And I damn near did not. Okay. I damn near had to ride the rails to wherever the destination might have been. But I dove off the damn thing, almost killed myself. Anyway.
I was going to say as an adult, the closest thing I can think of is like when I was dating as an adult, when somebody would want to do something that I did not want to do, I would pretend I had some interest in it.
Sure, but that's not, there's nothing embarrassing about that because it wasn't like you were putting on a show. I mean, that's totally different situation.
Yeah, it's different.
Then you know.
But I wasn't being honest.
I mean, we were just talking last weekend. Josh, don't torture yourself over that. We're talking about dudes who make themselves the center of attention kind of a thing so all the ladies will notice them. My God, so for one night you pretended like you like dance music. So what? We were just talking over the weekend about my buddy who jumped off the roof of a house into a pool to impress some ladies. And his skull missed the edge of the pool by about 1/4 of an inch. I mean, he could have been killed.
Gosh.
That's the kind of guy. This guy here I'm about to tell you about. You know he's at least 21 years old. In a place called Jackson, Wyoming. He was acting like a friggin' donkey. He made a fool of himself when he tried to impress some checks. He climbed a famous landmark they have there in town, and he got reprimanded and ticketed by the cops for that.
I'd never heard of this, but it's kind of cool looking. Or it's very cool looking.
It does look cool.
Had you heard of this before?
No.
Yeah, because like you said, people say, oh, this is famous. People visit this particular landmark, and there's a few of them around there.
Yeah.
I'd never heard of it.
No,
but
me either.
If I go, I want to see it.
I'm going there this summer.
Then climb it. Are you really?
Yeah. Dude was caught climbing like a child up a tree. He was caught climbing to the top of something called the Elk Antler Arches in Jackson, and it is what it sounds like. It's a big arch over a walkway in town that's made of a pile of elk antlers.
I'm glad you're going. I'd love to go to Wyoming.
Yeah, we're going to give it a shot. This was near 1 o'clock in the godforsaken a.m. that this grown man was climbing this effing thing. When the cops walked up, the dude told them he had been, quote, drinking, and he gave him an honest answer. He told them he was trying to impress some foxy ladies that he just met at a tavern. He fully cooperated with the cops. He was handed a $100 ticket for acting like a damn grade school kid at recess.
What an idiot.
I'm sure the cops have seen this song and dance a billion times.
They're used to it.
The dude, the cops did say they were surprised how far he was able to climb. He got pretty much to the tippy top of that pig. But they also said the guy was dumb as balls because had he fallen, he could have easily halved himself or something and bled out on the street.
Definitely.
It says here the big arches are made up of 10 to 12,000 pounds of elk antlers. Also, many of the elk are killed there on site. The local children lure the elk into town with food, and then the local drunk comes around the corner in a Chevy Silverado, and he runs them over at high speed.
No.
Yeah, and then the children drink the blood of the freshly killed elk.
Oh, yeah, that part.
They all dance and cheer, and they use the blood as war paint on their faces. It's all very nice.
And the children have to remove the antlers just with their hands.
Oh, completely normal.
Takes forever.
It takes a while, yeah. It teaches the children work ethic.
You posted these photos, did you not?
Yes, I did.
There you go. People are saying, go to the Cowboy Bar when you go to Jackson. It's loaded with chicks.
We had a former coworker when it comes to chicks that what?
Oh, our former coworker. What came to mind when someone
with chicks?
He would always say, "I love chicks."
Love chicks.
He did. He loved two things in this world: chicks and Night Ranger.
Yeah, and you know what? I can't argue with those.
You cannot argue. Oh, and Steve Perry's contribution to We Are the World. Those are the three things in life that he truly
That is
loved.
a highlight of that song.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Line drive, left center field, over is Martinez. He won't get it. The ball lands. Fitzgerald scores. Twins win. Twins win. The Twins finally walk off the Guardians. 6-5 the final.
Yeah, it took a couple days to wrap that game up.
Sure did.
That's a really long game.
Twins and Guardians were finally able to play some baseball yesterday at Target Field, and there was a lot of excitement in that 6-5 win. Cody Clemens ripping that line drive over the center fielder's head to win the game. The second game didn't go so well, but they had a good time there.
I wonder if there's somebody in Vegas that had a bet on that and was just sweating it out for 36 hours.
If you're making a life-changing bet on a late May Twins-Guardians game, you've got a friggin' problem. You've got a friggin' problem, but it would be beautiful to see that in person.
Just sitting there holding the ticket for someone, shaking their hands.
His hair's just wild. He's got bags under his eyes. I haven't slept.
Unwashed. A wet spot underneath his chair.
Yep.
He hasn't moved. We got plenty to cover when Randy Shaver ducks in here in a half hour. Friggin' Wolves are going to try their damnedest tonight, I would imagine. Other basketball stuff, hockey stuff. This and that. I feel as if there was one more. There's even some football stuff. That we're going to discuss, including some real filthy talk that happened at the NFL owners meeting.
Yeah, creepy,
I
too.
cannot wait to share this with you.
Yeah, a lot of weird butt stuff going on.
Butt stuff?
Butt stuff?
I was talking about the tush push.
Oh,
yeah, and I think he's going in a different direction.
Oh, okay. I'm bad. I misread that.
I knew there was something that I was missing, and this is it. The NFL owners, bunch of rich pricks, they all kind of get together and sure, they change a rule or two, but mostly they just smoke cigars and congratulate. What's the word, John?
Way to go being rich. Yeah. They congratulate each other for their portfolios.
Congratulate each other on being so perfect. But at one point, there was some real filthy talk.
Yeah.
And,
like weirdly kind of look into this guy.
Very
type
weird.
talk.
Take a look. Randy Shaver in a half hour. Josh's News is coming up next.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, if it isn't our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.
No Contest Wrestling. O'Shea Jackson Jr. and TJ Jefferson with the biggest names in the game.
Ricky Sykes is in the house, everybody. NXT North American Champion, baby.
How you feeling right now, man?
I feel great.
Jay Uso. What's going on, man?
A lot of heavy days, but it's okay, man. It's part of the game.
They know who they are, bro. And you know who I am. TJ, can you tell them where to find us? I mean, why else are we here? You can always find us No Contest Wrestling. Check us out.
The No Contest Wrestling Podcast, part of the Rich Eisen Podcast Network. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
They are in an alternate reality than ours. They are in that rock and roll rock reality.
They surround themselves with these professional dickheads.
And I'm not even really sure if they're aware, I don't
think they're aware of how much they suck.
93X rocks.
The knee bone's connected to the something. The something's connected to the red thing. The red thing's connected to my wristwatch.
No! We all know the doctor's office can cost an arm and a leg, but this right here is pretty ridiculous. A 59-year-old woman from Plymouth is kid knee deep in a lawsuit, after a surgery mix-up that she claims left her with a spleen intact, but her left kidney MIA. According to the lawsuit filed Friday, the woman checked into an Allina Health hospital in March of 2022 for a splenectomy, but left missing a major organ that she planned to keep. The suit alleges the surgeon and the entire hospital, they're claiming that they did it all wrong. In his post-op notes, the doctor proudly proclaimed he had successfully removed her spleen, except a CT scan after the fact revealed the spleen was still there, but her left kidney had left the building.
Hospital records told the family that the kidney removal was unintentional and apologized for his error.
Yes, how could they do that?
Yeah.
I'm wondering if they just maybe had something wrong on the sheet, like take a kidney. I would hope that the doctor knew the difference.
God dang.
Yeah, you just grab one of them. There's a lot in there. You just grab one, hope for the best.
The lawsuit claims the doctor committed medical malpractice and medical battery. It accuses him of breaching the duty of care he owed her and causing permanent, irreversible injury.
Her attorney says complications from losing her kidney kept her in the hospital for nearly 2 months, and she needs ongoing treatment, like dialysis.
Allina, for its part, says the court filing doesn't tell the whole story and plans to fight the claims in court, presumably with more precision than the surgery itself.
In a statement, Allina Health said that the court filings don't accurately reflect the full picture, and it intends to defend the care that she received in court.
The woman is seeking at least $50,000 in damages.
That's friggin' crazy, Cubby. I imagine.
I'd be so mad.
Oh, I can't imagine.
I imagine there might be one person right now listening to this program on their way to the doctor's office and they just turned around.
Yeah, is there a way to label my organs? Just tattoo them or something like that?
That can't happen. That can't happen.
And Josh,
but it happened, didn't it?
It sure sounds like it did.
It happened.
That's what she's claiming, yeah.
As a huge Simpsons aficionado, I appreciate you playing that Dr. Nick audio, and I'm kicking myself I didn't think to send it to you first, Josh. Well done.
That's one of my favorite bits there from The Simpsons. I laughed my ass off at that. A 53-year-old South Carolina personal injury attorney found himself personally injured in reputation after a brief encounter with the law last week. Charleston police say William McLeod was caught hollering at the top of his lungs while dressed in nothing but his underwear and shoes. An officer spotted McLeod mid-meltdown last Wednesday evening, walking through town, shouting incoherently. When police approached, he reportedly proclaimed he was Superman, and for good measure, God. Superman must have forgotten his cape and ID that day, because authorities cuffed him for failing to produce anything resembling identification or a coherent sentence. When en route to jail, police said he continued to yell about vague historical events and then various people in his life. When they arrived at the jail...
and then, my mother-in-law.
And then I've got a third cousin on my dad's side. When they arrived at the jail, he refused to exit the vehicle, instead requesting to remain in the squad for a snooze. He was sleepy and wanted to take a nap back there.
I get it.
Officers noticed his eyes were extremely bloodshot and highly dilated. He was sweating profusely, which they said were symptoms typical of someone under the influence of narcotics.
And what he was special in what way? He did what for a living?
He was an attorney, a personal injury attorney.
Oh, no. Yeah,
or maybe he still is, I guess.
He's a somebody.
Yeah, at least he was.
He was a somebody.
I don't know. I might shop around if I was one of his clients at that point.
Rantings on historical figures and members of his family.
Yeah. They said just kind of some weird little factoids and stuff. He was throwing out there.
I guess that's kind of entertaining.
Oh, I'd
Breaks
imagine,
your day up a little bit.
Sure, if you're a cop, it'd probably be fun to listen to.
So that's all I know about Hitler, but let me tell you about my mother-in-law for a little.
A former police officer has been found guilty of taking advantage of a vulnerable 78-year-old woman with dementia, accessing her bank accounts and attempting to claim her estate. The 37-year-old, who previously served with the Cloquet Police Department, first came into contact with the woman when she reported a stolen purse, unaware that her real loss would come dressed in a uniform. Months later, when she accidentally mailed something to the precinct, officers, including the now former officer, visited her home and found her in critical condition. She was rushed to a local hospital, then transferred to another facility for ongoing care. The woman had no surviving children and had been estranged from her spouse since 2013, though they were still legally married. Due to her condition, the medical facility asked the district court to appoint an emergency guardian. A social worker suggested the officer play the role, and the officer agreed. Medical records painted a sad picture. The woman suffered a stroke, was living with dementia, and had a severely diminished mental capacity. She was confused about the year, believed the hospital was, quote, the place where trains switch cars, and often spoke to people who weren't there. Just 10 days into guardianship and without full legal authority, the officer used the documents to gain access to her bank accounts, which held a total of $43,000. The woman passed away in 2020 without a will, which legally ended that guardianship. But by then, the shady officer had already moved large sums of money between her accounts.
Well, you crooked bastard, you.
Scumbag. Big time.
What the hell's
Poor
the matter
woman.
with that guy?
An 18-year-old from South Minneapolis is facing 8 felony charges after police say he deliberately tried to provoke a chase, driving recklessly through the city in a stolen vehicle. The incident, caught on video, shows a Kia SUV speeding and swerving on Lindale Avenue in Uptown about 7 a.m. Tuesday, May 6th. But what drew even more attention is what didn't happen in the video. Despite the wild driving and a squad car clearly visible in the footage, officers didn't give chase. The Minneapolis police chief said the decision not to pursue the car, despite the clear effort to bait police, was dictated by agency policy. If a vehicle is simply stolen, there's no force, violence, or gun involved, police aren't allowed to chase stolen cars, period, the chief said. Police later tracked down the suspected driver and arrested him. He was found behind the wheel of yet another stolen car, carrying a gun this time that he definitely wasn't supposed to have. Prosecutors are pushing for higher bail, calling him a significant threat to public safety.
Charges against that man say he is, quote, known to always be in stolen cars and steal cars and then flee police and taunt them.
Jeez.
That's his,
He's always in these stolen cars.
He's the guy. That's his thing. That's his brand. On a brighter note, there's some encouraging news. According to Minneapolis police data, both car thefts and carjackings are down compared to this time last year.
That's good, at least.
That was a real popular deal for a while there, wasn't it?
Sure was.
Absolutely.
Authorities revealed yesterday that a 32-year-old man was drunk, high, and playing a video game on his phone when he caused a deadly head-on crash on a Twin Cities highway.
Come on, man.
He was the one that died.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. The crash happened just after 10 p.m. November 22nd along Highway 12 in Independence.
Drunk, high, driving, and playing a video game.
Yeah.
That's one way
one
to
of those
do it.
is bad enough.
Yeah, that all sounds fun if you just take the driving part out of it.
Yeah, you can do that at home.
Mm-hmm.
According to officials, the man was heading west when he crossed the center line and slammed into an SUV from the opposite direction, driven by a 35-year-old man. Emergency crews rushed the SUV driver to HCMC with serious injuries. The 32-year-old who caused the crash, sadly, was pronounced dead at the scene. A joint investigation by the State Patrol, the Medical Examiner's Office, and the Sheriff's Office confirmed both impairment and distraction were to blame. Toxicology tests showed the man had methamphetamine in his system, and police found his phone still running a video game after the crash. Court records show it wasn't the driver's first brush with risky behavior behind the wheel. Over a year earlier, he was cited for using his cell phone while driving in Monticello. He also had 7 prior speeding convictions and 1 for drunk driving.
Whoa.
There's no fixing some of you people.
Sad ending there, but luckily the innocent person wasn't too badly hurt, or worse. New numbers are in from Minnesota law enforcement's latest push to stop distracted driving, and they show a big jump in violations. During April's statewide crackdown, officers issued 6,450 citations for drivers using their phones behind the wheel, roughly 1,000 more than during the same campaign last year. Distracted driving continues to take a deadly toll in Minnesota. Last year alone, it was linked to at least 29 traffic fatalities and 137 serious injuries.
When our investigators have to do notifications to family members, it is heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching to knock on that door and tell a family member that their loved one has passed, and then to know that it was preventable.
In total, 241 law enforcement agencies participated in the campaign. St. Paul Police issued the most citations, 1,326, and they used a high-riding pickup truck equipped with side-facing cameras to better spot texting drivers from above. Officers say the enforcement effort underscored just how difficult it is for some drivers to break their habit. In one case, a driver was cited for distracted driving twice within 10 minutes.
Oh, man.
I mean, 2 times.
Just give it a break.
10 minutes?
10 minutes. I wonder if the person just picked up their phone. You're not going to believe what happened to me. It makes a phone call with the phone in their hand. I don't have details on it, but my goodness. The State Patrol recommends parents talk to their newly licensed kids about staying safe on the roads as the school year is about to come to a close. Make sure your new drivers are safe and educated in how to operate the vehicle, what the laws are, and where they're going, declared 47-year-old Lieutenant Mike Lee, pausing only to luxuriate in a steamy, muscle-soaking bathtub lavished with his beloved icy hot. With Memorial Day around the corner, officers are sounding the alarm. The holiday weekend marks the beginning of the 100 deadliest days, the period between Memorial Day and Labor Day, when fatal crashes, especially those involving teen drivers, typically spike. The Minnesota Department of Public Safety's Click It or Ticket campaign runs through June 1st. That's a lot of folks they caught.
That's all very frightening, Josh.
I know. It was less fast and furious and more fast and fine in Wisconsin this weekend as post-car show shenanigans spun out of control in the Dells. According to the Green Lake County Sheriff's Office, the rubber met the road literally and legally as multiple motorists were ticketed for extreme speeding. One lead-footed driver was caught cruising at over 120 miles an hour.
You always see folks get squirrely before, during, and after the car show, don't you?
Yeah, that's kind of fun, actually, watching people in really cool cars peel out or whatever they're doing after those car shows. We will continue to enforce traffic laws of all kinds to do our best to keep our community safe, the Sheriff's Office posted on Facebook. No additional details were provided.
It's almost like you can always count on half a dozen fist fights after you but after you leave the local MMA show.
Oh, man. I was always scared to lose all those boxing events. You know, in a different armory somewhere.
Yeah.
I was scared to make eye contact with people in those places.
Yeah, that you're right. The testosterone was jacked. If you've ever blamed your zip code for a restless night, you might be onto something. A new study using data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention found where you live could seriously affect how well you sleep. Researchers looked at the 100 most populous U.S. cities and ranked them based on sleep duration and quality. Here's the top 5 most sleep-deprived spots: Cincinnati, Toledo, Detroit, New Orleans. And if folks in Norfolk, Virginia seem a little bitchy, it's because they're getting the least amount of sleep. Ohio had 3 cities in the most sleep-deprived top 10. Aside from Cincinnati and Toledo, as I mentioned, Cleveland made it to the top 10 as well at number 9. On the flip side, these are the cities where people are getting the best rest: Boise, Madison, San Jose, Seattle. And the city that sleeps the most soundly, Minneapolis. Cool, calm, and catching Z's. Did you say gross?
I said good for us.
Oh, good for us.
Well, I'm glad somebody's getting some sleep in Minneapolis.
And don't sleep on St. Paul. It's snuggled into 6th place on the list of best
it's
rest.
Boring.
I like St. Paul, which may be connected to something the researchers noted in their findings. They pointed out cooler climates like those found in many of the well-rested cities may play a role in improving sleep quality.
Well, F me running sideways.
So if you're well-rested, you probably live in one of those cities. Streaming today on Netflix, Kevin Bacon and Julianne Moore star in the new dark comedy series Sirens. Over an explosive weekend at a lavish beach estate, a woman tries to save her sister from her mysterious boss, only to discover how dangerous that power and privilege can be. Now streaming on Prime Video, Drive into the Life of a NASCAR Icon in Earnhardt, featuring rare archival footage, heart-pounding race highlights, and deeply personal interviews. The new docuseries offers an intimate look at the career, legacy, and the family behind NASCAR driver Dale Earnhardt. The first 2 episodes debut today. The final 2 will be released on next Thursday. Happy 34th birthday to Sweet Heiny Hein Jesus from 3 Tablespoons Past Your Neck Jesus, who said he, quote, loves you booby face. And we'd like to send some good vibes, along with our friend Ojibwe Jesus, to Utah Gina Jesus, going through some health issues right now. Hope you're feeling better soon. And that's 93X News.
Randy Shaver.
I love this dude. I mean, this dude is electric.
On the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Indiana with it. Halliburton. He'll take it. He'll backpedal, a 3 for the win. And... oh! He got it!
Oh, boy, my microphone wasn't turned on, and I started talking. Hello, Randy Shaver.
Hello.
I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to tell you this right now. If you missed the ending of last night's Knickerbockers, Pacers, Eastern Conference final game one, and I'm sure most of you did, but if you missed it, you missed something special.
Yeah, not me. I watched it.
I was busy last night, BSing, went out to the beer hall for a bite to eat, and I almost didn't flip it on, but I flipped on Pacers Knicks. About 8 minutes left in the game, and by damn, I'm a lucky bastard.
Yeah, you were in for a treat there.
I'm telling you, one of the best basketball playoff games I think I've ever watched.
I mean, have you ever seen a game-winning or game-tying shot quite like the one Halliburton released at the end of regulation? The way it went off the back rim, it went straight up in the air.
It's like a movie.
Yeah, so everyone in the arena could have about 2 seconds of panic, and the sumbitch drops right through the net. It was just beautiful.
The damn thing near hit the ceiling.
Beautiful.
And really, honestly, the best part was it only tied the game. He thought that he made the three to win the game
right
after they were down by 14 with just over 2.5 minutes left. They have this incredible rally. Nesmith hit these threes. I mean, it was an unbelievable comeback, but he thought he made the shot to win the game.
And what did he do? And what did he do,
choke
Randy?
sign. He gave the Reggie Miller choke sign.
God, that was beautiful.
To the New York fans. And then they do the Kevin Durant, oh, wait a second, your toes on the line.
Yeah.
And so now the game goes to overtime. I thought that was just perfect because it gave everybody a chance to reset and make the agony even worse for the New York Knicks fans because they could not get out of their own way in the overtime, and Indiana ends up winning the game. It was one of the greatest comebacks I've ever seen in a short period of time. But, I mean, just really the end of that ball game, the last 4 minutes of that game was just incredible.
They ripped their friggin' hearts out.
They did.
I mean, and of course, New York is a very good basketball team, and they have a fine chance of forgetting all about what happened last night and winning the series, of course. It's only one game. But the Pacers may have cursed this series with the way they won that. They're down 14 with under 3 minutes left. That Nesmith kid that you mentioned, what did he hit, 4 3-pointers in a row or something?
He hit 5 in a row.
Good
He
Lord.
ended up with 8 on the night. I will say something about the Knicks. This is kind of a little bit reminiscent of the first 2 games of the Knicks series with the Celtics. The Knicks were down like 20 and rallied in both of those games to win in Boston. And I think we saw the toll it took on Boston to lose those games and the fight that they had to have to come back to make that a series. I think the Knicks are in the same boat. I mean, that's a really tough game to come back from to have to win in game 2.
The Indiana Pacers have been dramatic in the playoff.
All season.
All season. In the playoff specifically, they won a game in Milwaukee, or against Milwaukee. I can't say for sure where it was. They won a game against Milwaukee in the first round when they trailed by 7 points with 40 seconds left. They also beat Cleveland when they were behind by 7 points with 46 seconds remaining. Teams leading by at least 14 points in the last 2 minutes of teams that, I mean, I know this gets very specific, but still the number is impressive. Teams leading by at least 14 points in the final 2 minutes and 45 seconds of the fourth quarter had been 994-0 until last night.
Yeah.
You know, they do this arithmetic now. Sometimes they even pop it up on your television, don't they, nowadays? Where they'll say percentage chances of winning, chances
correct.
of losing. The Knicks, when there was 2 minutes and 51 seconds left in the fourth quarter and the Knicks led by 14, they had a 99.7% chance of winning that game, and it went the other way. That was a blast to watch.
The last time I saw a number like that that turned out to be the wrong number was when the Tigers in September of last year, to begin the month, they had like a 1% chance to make the playoffs. If you remember, the Tigers almost ran the table in September and ended up making the playoffs. That was the last time I saw a number similar to what you just said from a game last night.
And you know what I love about that? The audio of that game-winning shot. Play that as many times as you want, Josh, because that was so great. Reggie Miller on the call laughing his nuts off.
Exactly.
Former. Halliburton. He'll take it. He'll backpedal a three for the win. And he got it!
Reggie Miller acting like a partial, how do I say it, an unbiased announcer for the majority of the game.
Mm-hmm.
He had to laugh his nuts off at that. Does the choke sign. You choked, you bastards.
It was beautiful to see.
All right, the Wolves are going to try this again now.
Timberwolves.
Game 2 of their Western Conference Final Series with Oklahoma City starts at 7:30 tonight on ESPN. Let's hope things can turn around after Game 1, where we saw poor shooting, carelessness with the basketball, little help from the bench. There's nothing anybody can do, Randy Shaver, about the terrible officiating. That's always going to be there. You can't control that. But the Wolves need to worry about what they can control.
Right. Well, I mean, Anthony Edwards has to show up tonight. I mean, again, I said this after Game 1. He really, for the most part, had a pedestrian effort in Game 1.
I'd be A1 from day one.
And he's got to play way better in Game 2. And the entire bench has to shoot better because they rely so much on that bench to be an offensive part of their game when they've got Randall and Edwards and those guys resting. They've got to shoot better. And I would say this. I know they depended on the three-point shot most of the year. I get it. That's their, I guess, identity, in quotes.
And when it's working, it works well.
Sure. But when it doesn't, you've got to figure out something else.
Yeah.
You can't just sit and rely on that. And again, I go back to the number. OKC only took 23-point shots in Game 1. They made the conscious decision they were going to drive to the basket, get the Wolves in foul trouble, and they've got one of the best in the game in Shea Gillis to be able to do things like that. So I think Edwards was frustrated when he looked at the game sheet and saw that he only took 13 shots. He's got to shoot more than that, but he's got to have good shots too. So
I was hollering at him to drive to the rim in Game 1 in the fourth quarter because obviously the jump shooting wasn't terribly pretty on that particular evening. I got no problem with that. Baudette Fishing Guide Jesus has texted in to say, I'm wearing my Anthony Edwards jersey on the boat today, and I'm freezing my nuts off.
I'll bet.
But he's supporting the ball club. Back to these percentages that you get shown now and again on chances of winning, chances of losing, things like that.
It's kind of like online betting right now. I mean, you can bet from play to play, basically, and I think that's the same concept here with this percentage of winning. Yeah.
A couple of folks have texted in noting that Vikings game from a couple of years ago when they came back down 38-0, whatever, and beat the Indianapolis Colts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was thinking of that one.
Talking about how at one point or another the Vikings had a 0.01% chance of winning that game, but came back and did it. It was a couple 3 years ago. Who was the broken quarterback that the Colts were who ran them out that game? Who was that old quarterback? Was it Wentz? Who was that old quarterback?
I'm looking her up.
I don't recall.
They had a broken quarterback and a coach that had no business being on the sidelines at the time. That Jeff Saturday. right?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
He had remember that game, Josh? After a while, that head coach, who should have never been a head coach, was looking around as if he was thinking, what am I doing here?
Right.
Why am I here?
This has got to be a dream.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan?
Matt Ryan.
There it is.
Yeah.
Oh, total collapse there. Yeah. A lot of folks texting in about that as far as outlandish percentages where you come back and win a ball game.
Right.
So everyone needs to contribute if they want to tie this series tonight. Finchy and the boys, I think Randy Shaver are a pretty damn solid coaching staff. I trust they've got some ideas.
I'm sure they have some ideas. I think that Oklahoma City will also sit there and go, okay, if I were the Wolves, what do I need to do to win this game? And then they'll sit and counter what they think the Wolves will try and do tonight. I just think the Wolves just have to play better. Play with better poise. Don't turn the ball over. Don't rely and settle on threes all the time. And then just play the defense they're capable of playing, because they're a good defensive team.
Yeah.
They are. So, I mean, I think these teams are, I wouldn't say evenly matched, but I think they're close to each other. And the Wolves are just going to have to play a better game than they did in game one, certainly the second half.
I think it's from watching game one, if the Wolves are at their best or near it, absolutely they can beat Oklahoma City. Yep. They weren't anywhere near their best on what days?
Certainly not in the second half.
On Tuesday night. Was it Tuesday night that they played best?
Yep.
So they handed that Gilgeous-Alexander dude the MVP trophy. Anybody with any basketball sense at all knows that Jokic deserved that award.
You're a fan.
I'm a fan of
Jokic.
I mean, he was obviously the MVP. Come on. But Gilgeous-Alexander got the award, and now he's the 7th straight MVP winner to be born outside the United States. He's Canadian, John.
He's a cone.
You can tell in the way he talks. A brutal Canadian accent.
I can't understand a word he's saying.
Can't understand a word. Yeah, so that's, what's his name again? Gilgeous-Alexander, Jokic, friggin' Joel Embiid, and the Greek Freak are the last fellers to win the MVP, all of them born outside the United States, if that means anything to you.
Yeah. Well, it shows the game has become so international that it's not surprising.
He's the first Thunder player to win the award since Russell Westbrook did 9 years ago. 11 years ago, Kevin Durant won it. What the hell's going on?
Some thunder.
Ooh, listen to that.
I love that.
That's a nice ambiance.
It's very calming.
The only other guards this century. Okay, so Gilgeous-Alexander averaged 32.7 points per game. The only other guards this century is how they say it. It's very dramatic. To score at that level were James Harden, Kobe Bryant, baby nuts, and Allen Iverson. And so, as you heard all year long, the conversation was, should the MVP award go to the clear best player on the best team, or should it go to the player widely considered the best in the entire sport?
Well, I think that's up for debate for the people who vote on it. Some people tie in how the team does to the person that they're voting for. I think that's a legitimate part of it, because if your team is having great success like OKC, would they have that success if he wasn't playing for them?
Right.
Obviously not. So
I just go this way. I
don't have a problem with him winning the MVP. They had a great year. They've had actually 2 great years in a row, and he's been the reason why. So.
I have a problem because he's not the best player. It's obvious that Nikola Jokic is by far the most dominant and greatest player in the NBA, and he's been that for a few years now. So,
but he's won his share, though, too. It's not like he's been overlooked.
Nick, you know who
No, he hasn't been overlooked, but he's still the best.
You know who disagrees with you?
Who's that?
Cops that uses fuzzy cuffs, Jesus.
My kind of cop.
He says this. Come on, guy. He deserves the MVP, buddy.
Look, I'm not your buddy, pal.
I'm not your pal friend.
I'm not your friend, buddy.
I'm not your buddy guy.
See, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander understands this routine because he's Canadian.
That's how they talk.
Yep.
The Minnesota Lynx had their home opener last night playing against that Paige Beckers kid, who now plays in the WN. But the Lynx spoiled her little homecoming. Paige Beckers' first crack at playing here in town as a professional, correct?
Yep.
That's correct. Yes.
Did they sell the joint out?
I didn't see attendance, but I imagine it was probably close, if not sold out.
I imagine they sold the joint out.
I would think so, yeah.
Home opener and everything. Twins and Guardians were finally able to play some baseball yesterday, Randy. Sort of a doubleheader.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah. And that suspended ball game, which they went ahead and played first yesterday, ended up being a hell of a deal with the Twins walking off Cleveland in the ninth.
Almost went extra innings, which would have been
hilarious.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Line drive, left center field. Over is Martinez. He won't get it. The ball lands. Fitzgerald scores. Twins win. Twins win. The Twins finally walk off the Guardians. 6-5 the final.
Yeah, the second game didn't go as well. They didn't get the bats going at all, and Cleveland beat them 5-1. But that Cody Clemens, we all kind of laughed when that kid was signed.
He's done a nice job.
I didn't think he'd be here longer than a week.
When he hit that home run in Boston with his dad on, in one of the suites,
awesome.
I kind of thought, all right, cool. He's got a good moment, and he'll be, gone in a day or two. Yeah. But no, he's hung on, and he's had some clutch hits.
Yeah, I didn't think he'd be here longer than a week. So they got, by the way, when they won that suspended game, the first game yesterday, that made for their 10th straight win at home the longest winning streak they've ever had at Target Field.
Oh.
I would have.
Dang.
I was surprised when I read that yesterday. Day off today. The Kansas City Royals come into town tomorrow night, who I believe the Twins are tied with currently in the division.
Did anybody watch that second game at all?
Yeah.
With the rain coming down, by the end of it, there was probably 8 people in the park. There were more players on the field than there were in the stands.
Everyone ducked under the overhangs with the little heaters and everything.
It was a miserable week for baseball.
Yeah.
Here in town, just weather-wise.
Not nice around here.
Yeah, we could use some nice, high of 75, no clouds at Target Field.
Absolutely.
Here's a big update for everybody. I received a text message from obsessed Wild fan Jesus, who claims to have been highest bidder. I can't quite hit the note that Weird Al.
No one can but Weird Al.
He claims to have been the highest bidder on that Kirby Puckett candy bar we were talking about last week.
That's awesome.
And now he wants to know what he's asking what he wants us to do with it. Now, if you're just tuning in, last week, I don't know what we were doing, horsing around on eBay. Dana found a 30-some-year-old Kirby Puckett candy bar that they sold for a while when Kirby was a ball player. It was on eBay. The bidding was at $12. Next thing you know, Dana's bidding on it. Next thing you know, listeners who want to anger Dana are bidding against him. And finally, the auction only lasts so many days, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And it ended, and Obsessed Wild Fan Jesus was highest bidder. He or she says $70, I think.
Yep, that was the final bid. I just looked it up.
Okay, so they said, I have won the Kirby Puckett bar. If you would like it, I can just give it to you. I wouldn't mind letting you guys have it so you can just eat it or do whatever you would like. I don't know.
We're not going to eat it.
We can't take that.
God, I would hope you don't eat it.
They were so good. Randy, did you ever have one back in the day?
Yes, I did.
They were so good.
30 years later.
I don't know how long.
I'd be willing to roll the dice.
God.
You're saying that, but would you really if it was in front of you?
I'd take a nibble.
You would.
I don't know the staying power of a 30-year-old.
It can't be good. It can't be good.
Well, we'd find out, I guess, if Dana took a bite.
Yeah.
Well,
I recommend you don't, but you're a grown man.
I told Obsessed Wild Fan Jesus, I think I texted him or her back and said, thank you, and we'll get back to you. I don't know what we wanted. I would like to see. I would personally like to see it. But we'd also like to pay you back. I mean, you don't need to be spending $70 for nothing.
I feel bad it got up that high.
But that's really cool that you got a hold of us to let us know. It's really cool that a listener was highest bidder on this damn thing.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we'll give you a call. We'll have you swing by. I'd like to see it. You know, the sweet tooth I've got now, Josh, I might just take a friggin'...
Oh, no.
I might make a run at that damn thing.
You're going to get sick.
I know you're a fan.
If it looks really bad, Randy Shaver, what we'll do, we'll pay the guy back, and then we'll go throw it in somebody's swimming pool.
Or you could do what our boss did years ago. Not our current boss, but one of the terrible ones. He took a baby Ruth, put it in a toilet, and grabbed a coworker's keys and put those keys in the toilet.
So weird.
So
Why? Weirdo.
Like as a prank?
As a prank,
look,
yeah.
your keys are next to a big fat turd with peanuts in it.
And there's your
what?
keys.
I don't recall that comedy routine.
God, that would make me
How did
so
that
mad.
go over for the person who owned the car
he was
keys?
not a fan. Not a fan.
Is there a pool over there at Rush Creek, Randy, when we come there for the gala?
There's a pond. I know that well.
You sure do.
Pool or a pond? Natural springs.
No
a pond,
swimming allowed.
Pond is probably better for you. Natural springs, they said in Caddyshack. Yeah, you do know where the ponds are.
Oh, I do, for sure.
That'd be fun. We'll wait for a pool party this summer, and then we'll drop that Kirby Puckett candy bar into them.
Don't eat that candy bar. Better than Dana at Mario Kart. Jesus said, if you do, Dana, your hair plugs will fall right out.
You see, some people are texting and saying that candy has great staying power. Chocolate.
Really?
Yeah.
30 years worth, though? I don't think so.
I don't know. I don't know.
Sus.
I'm not a foodie.
Oh, my God. I don't think you have to be a foodie to know that's probably not going to be good for you.
Remember
it's not going to kill
Zombieland?
us.
It could.
Yeah, you don't know that.
I don't think it'll kill anybody.
Could kill you.
Probably not. Remember in Zombieland where Woody Harrelson's character loved Twinkies?
Yeah.
That was pretty funny. Did you ever see that movie, Nick?
I did.
Love that movie.
Oh, I bet you'd like it.
I enjoyed it.
You did.
I did. I heard the second one was a really large, tall, hot pile of feces.
Yeah, it wasn't
is what I heard
fantastic.
It's still enjoyable.
I didn't
Yeah.
watch that. Is that the... Well, I guess I don't want to spoil it, but it's got that famous cameo. Is that right? The second one?
Yes.
Well, the first one and the second one both have that cameo.
I enjoyed
I don't remember
Zombie
the first
Land. I enjoyed it. The St. Paul Saints are striking back, is the wording they used in this year's story. The St. Paul Saints are striking back against a comedian's comment earlier this month that referred to them as boring, and we covered this.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah, what'd they say? Good for them.
John Oliver is the name of a comic who, on a television show or something, he said minor league baseball clubs should get more creative with their marketing and their team names, and he specifically pointed out the Saints as a disappointing example of a minor league baseball team. The Saints have decided to lean into John Oliver's comments. They're going to go ahead and host something called Plane Night.
They're so good over there.
And this
That's
will be, this is tonight. Tonight, they got a doubleheader. The second game of their doubleheader tonight is Plane Night. And here's what that means, Randy Shaver. Plane as in Plain. Any Saints fan who flashes an ID at the gates with the name John or Oliver, okay, which they say are two of the top 50 generic men's names in the world.
Love that they found that out.
They will get a free ticket into the game if you have your license and it says John or Oliver anywhere's on it. The first 1,000 fans, Randy Shaver, will receive a plain piece of white paper.
Wow.
The traditional peanut toss during the seventh inning stretch will be replaced by ordinary white bread getting tossed out to the crowd, and they're not even close to done yet. Forget the kiss cam or funny antics on the Jumbotron tonight at the Saints game on Plane Night. The Saints instead will show only people in khaki pants and tucked-in T-shirts or shirts. If you want a dessert at the game, concessions will only be serving, guess what?
Plain ice cream.
Plain vanilla ice cream. And between innings, Fans will be shown a PowerPoint presentation on how the Jumbotron... Oh, no, sorry. I'll get there. Fans will be shown a PowerPoint presentation on the Jumbotron that goes over all the names the Saints didn't choose in their inaugural year of 1993, such as the St. Paul Accountants, the St. Paul Municipals, and the St. Paul Eastern Gray Squirrels.
Their marketing department is so good.
Yeah,
and
this
they have
is
been
fantastic.
Forever.
I want to go.
We'll see if Ron Oliver, what's his name again?
John Oliver.
If he has anything to say in return. So they're leaning into his criticism and have created the most boring night in the history of minor league baseball. The most plain night.
Am I the only one here that knows an Oliver, personally?
I know one.
Everyone knows a lot of Johns.
I know an Oliver.
No, I don't know any Olivers.
I know an Oliver.
You do?
Yeah, he's 1.5, and he lives in Denver, so I don't think he's going to make it to the game tonight, but I do know one Oliver.
Well, if he was a fan, he would.
Yeah. He's not loyal. He's not diehard.
I don't think I know an Oliver, Cubby.
Underwhelmingly optimistic Jesus said, it's not a plain piece of paper that they're handing out. It's a list of all the funny jokes John Oliver has ever told.
Oh, dang.
That's better.
There are no funnier people in the world than the brother and sisterhood. That's genius.
They knock it out of the park 9 times out of 10. Yeah, I remember when we brought this. I don't know any comics. I've never heard of John Oliver. I think that if I remember right, some of you thought he was funny. The rest of you thought he was terrible.
I don't like him.
Yeah, I don't think anybody said he was funny.
Yeah, nobody said he was funny.
Oh, really?
No,
Okay.
not funny.
I said some of that monologue he had was kind of funny, but yeah, I've never been a fan.
And he's just
But I haven't really watched enough to not like him.
He's raking in the bucks, and you guys all think
he seems to be doing all
you
right.
think he sucks.
Well, people always post clips like, you got to see what John Oliver did. And it's like, it's a 40-minute clip. I don't have time for that.
Never saw the guy, but I don't see any comics, except for C. William Miles, but he's not a comic. He's an entertainer. A high school baseball team in Maryland pulled off a hidden ball trick to win a playoff game. Is this up on our website?
Yeah, it is. This is crazy.
They pulled off a fake error. St. Michael's is the name of the ball club. You got to see the video, but I think I could explain it well enough. During the top half of the final inning, close ball game, St. Michael's is in the field. The opposite club had the tying run on second base with 2 outs. Pitcher turns his back to the plate toward the runner on second to pretend like he was going to deliver a pickoff throw. The second baseman and shortstop both react as if the pitcher threw the ball, number one, and also threw it into center field. Dude on second runs for third. Pitcher, who never threw the baseball in the first place, tags the poor kid out. Game over.
So smart.
That poor guy
Yeah.
at second base. Golly.
He's like, why couldn't this have been 1985 and nobody would ever see this?
I tell you what, that is a genius play because everybody reacts the way they would normally react if the ball got away. The center fielder takes off. The second baseman falls down. I mean, it's perfect.
That kid at second base feels
gosh, he just
feels
that
like
poor
a
guy.
jackass.
I'd hate myself.
That poor kid.
He fell for it.
Well, I mean,
his prom date just dumped him.
The one thing you don't see in the video is if the third base coach also recognized the play and was screaming at him to stay there, but you can't see it. So
yeah. A couple people have texted in to say that John Oliver is hilarious.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of praise. But we'll have to watch it, I guess. Give it a shot.
I won't watch it. Army Daddy Jesus texted in to say, isn't John Oliver British? That dude should stick to beans on toast and leave baseball to the Americans. So we're getting mixed reviews on John Oliver. Talk about getting your heart ripped out. And we were earlier when we talked about the New York Knickerbockers. Game 1 of the NHL's Western Conference Finals were played last night in Texas, and my damn, the Dallas Stars were down to the Edmonton Oilers 3-1 going into the third period last night. The Stars,
Amazing.
They came out in the final period and put on a donkey show for the home crowd. They scored 4 goals in the third, 5 if you count empty net goals. And they won the hockey game 5-3, 6-3 if you count empty net goals. Dallas scored 3 power play goals in 5.5 minutes early in the third period. Jesus, Edmonton, stay out of the sin bin.
Exactly.
A wicked comeback.
That is heartbreaking for Edmonton. My God.
Tonight, Carolina and Florida play Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals. The Frosty Frost and the Ottawa Club play Game 2 of the PWHL Final Series. 6 o'clock on the FanDuel channel. All right. It pains me to bring this up, but the stupid tush push will remain a thing in the National Football League. It says here a vote on the subject led to a heated exchange between NFL owners and executives, including Randy Shaver, some unnecessary dirty talk from one of the owners. So the Green Bay Packers' failed proposal to ban the tush push included a heated discussion. Blah, blah, blah. The proposal did not pass despite 22 owners voting to blah, blah, blah. The Philadelphia Eagles used it to win the Super Bowl, blah, blah. Okay, here's the part that I hope you really like. During the general discussion portion of the league meeting on the tush push, Eagles owner Jeffrey Lurie gave a passionate speech in defense of the tush push. During his speech, Lurie reportedly said that it would be like a, quote, wet dream for a teenage boy to create a play that was so good that it resulted in the NFL banning it. Why are you saying wet dream during a formal meeting?
That's really weird. How old is this guy?
Yeah, no kidding.
He's a grown man. Again, he said it would be
pretty gross.
Like a wet dream for a teenage boy to create a play that was so good it resulted in the NFL banning it.
That's very creepy.
This was not appreciated by Troy Vincent, the NFL's executive vice president of football operations. Vincent stood up and chastised Lurie for his analogy and the fact that he said it in the presence of women. Lurie snapped back at Troy Vincent and criticized him and Roger Goodell for advocating the ban of the tush push. So all these grown men are shouting back and forth. One of them had to say wet dream out loud in the process.
Jesus God.
Yeah, that's a showstopper right there.
I don't like that.
Wait, what did that man say?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Did that billion-dollar owner of an NFL franchise just say wet dream and teenage boy in the same sentence as we're talking about a rule proposal?
Yeah, gross.
Come on, dude. By the way, after the tush push, and again, I'm so burned out on this stupid, but after the tush push was made to be legal again, the Philadelphia Eagles social media team put a 26-minute highlight package of the tush push on YouTube. That's friggin' funny.
That is funny.
They had that ready to go.
Oh,
yeah, they did.
And with that big graphic they had, too.
They couldn't wait to put that out.
26-minute highlight reel of just the two. I love the Philadelphia Eagles. That's my favorite team. Do they play here this season?
I think they do.
Really? I'd like to do a Dana and just suddenly adopt them as the most important thing in my life. Hey, Josh, answer a question for me real quick. Whose favorite football team won the Super Bowl last season?
I think that was Nick Boyd's
That was me. I love the Philadelphia Eagles. I love what they do on the field and off the field. I don't think their owner should have said wet dream and teenage boy in the same sentence at that meeting. But I love the Phil. Let it be known.
Yeah, we play them week 7.
Yeah, October 19th.
Here in town?
Yep.
I'm going to be head to toe in Eagles gear at that friggin' game. All right, the NFL also passed a rule change, Randy Shaver, allowing onside kicks at any point in a ball game when a club is trailing. I never knew there was a rule there in the first place.
They put it into place, I think, a year or two ago that you could only do an onside kick if you're trailing in the fourth quarter.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they changed it back, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
But you have to be trailing, so you can't do like a surprise onside at halftime.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so this is cute. Teams must now declare an onside kick.
Yeah, that's the annoying part.
That's been out there though for the last year. I think,
it's still funny though. The teams have to declare.
Here is what we were going to run.
Now they can do it any point during a game if they are trailing, but they must declare it first.
Yeah, it doesn't change much. I can't imagine a first quarter onside kick.
Yeah, it really doesn't. I mean, the odds of recovering an onside kick is so low.
I think it was 7% last year.
It's so dumb now. The onside kick used to be exciting.
Just go for it on fourth down.
Like a lot of things in the NFL used to be exciting. Now, when a team lines up for an onside kick, they have no chance. Mm-hmm. No chance.
I enjoy texts like this where they'll text us the first thing they heard when they turned the radio on.
Yeah?
Wet dream, teenage boy, tush push. What the hell am I listening to here?
Jeez.
Obviously, people are kind of trolling the Packers, right? They were the loudest about
right.
Exactly. They should call it like the love shove in Green Bay and just kind of push back, right? Just go with it.
Do something cute with it. Don't be mad about it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Someone else texted and said, shame, Nick. Eagles are the enemy here. I don't care. That is my new favorite football team.
I don't think I could get behind the Eagles.
Vikings fans are not fans of the Eagles.
I don't care.
I think a lot of people are.
We'll find out. What date do they come into town?
October 19th.
They won. The push. What do you call it again?
Push.
The tush push wins again. We Eagles fans do nothing but win.
Nick's in the tailgate parking lot in the Eagles jersey doing tush pushes with a bunch of other Eagles fans.
My gosh.
I'm going to wear my Chris Carter Eagles jersey. My Chris Carter Eagles jersey. Hey, if you want to... Hey, Vikings fans, if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. Don't be mad at me because I'm an Eagles fan.
They are the champs.
They're the champs. What is this kid doing? J.J. McCarthy's going to have a baby.
Yep. Not him personally.
What has he done, Randy?
What do you mean?
About ready to be a starting quarterback in the NFL? You got yourself locked down with a baby? He's doing it all wrong.
Does kind of seem like bad timing.
What?
He should be having the time of his life. He should be running wild and having the time of his life.
It's not going to
Sorry, we Eagles fans have a little bit of attitude. I'm sorry. I know you're not used to it here in town.
Well, and he's only 22 even. I mean,
is he only 22?
Yeah. Any career, it seems a tad young.
That seems a tad young to me. But I'm an Eagles fan. I don't know.
Well, he doesn't get to spend any time with the newborn baby.
Oh, I didn't think of it that way.
It's due in October.
I was just thinking about him going town to town having the time of his life,
Well, there was a time in your life where that wouldn't have stopped you.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Up until very recently.
Here's a few listeners who have texted in who have enjoyed my heel turn. I know I have.
Yeah, when were you ever a face?
Yeah, you're right, stuck in Brainerd, Jesus. I do like the Commodores, too. I do. The Washington Commodores. But I don't know. After what happened yesterday with the tush push and the 26-minute video and all that, that's too much fun for me to ignore. So.
Yep.
Do you guys still give a rat's ass about that Hard Knocks football program?
I do now.
I don't.
Yes.
Just in the last year, I lost interest, which is strange because I loved it. And I would never miss it. But now I just kind of lost it.
Okay.
Dana loves it now.
Because I'm sure he does.
They're going to feature the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
Also the New York Giants. Is this for real? This show is in its 25th year?
Yeah.
What?
I thought it was only 5-6 years old.
Me too.
25. What year is it now? In the year 2000, this show was on HBO?
And when it first started, it was kind of groundbreaking and fascinating because we didn't really get that kind of peel behind the curtain, look behind the scenes type of stuff. So it was groundbreaking at the time. Now there's tons of documentaries in every sports of everything that happens, how the levers are pulled behind the scenes. But when it first came out, it was like, holy crap. We get to see what goes on back there.
I would have never guessed 25 years of this friggin' operation.
Be a lot of wholesome Josh Allen content. I'm looking forward to it.
He seems like a pretty likable guy.
He is.
All right. Finally. Who Josh Allen is a likable guy?
He comes across
He seems
that
like
way.
he is. Yeah, you're right.
It was his birthday yesterday, too.
Get out of town.
Mm-hmm.
Did you wish him a happy birthday?
Please
Maybe.
tell me you did not.
I mean, not him personally, but I posted about it.
Oh, no.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
What's the Eagles quarterback's name? My favorite.
Jalen Hurts.
Maybe I'll end up doing the same thing for Jalen Hurts. I don't know.
You can make a social media account. It's just a Jalen Hurts fan account.
Hey, everyone, it's Jalen Hurts' birthday today. You really did that yesterday?
Yeah.
What's the matter with you?
I don't know.
What'd you say? He's the king of all Joshes. We all look up to Josh Allen.
Yeah, I said, I hope everyone is having a great Josh Allen birthday day and celebrating accordingly by just being a good overall human and looking out for others.
Maybe I'll end up saying the same things about Jalen Hurts.
August 7th, it's coming up.
Is Jalen Hurts' birthday on August 7th?
I just looked it up, yeah.
All right. Fox Sports is going to air an Oscar Mayer Wienermobile race this weekend.
Oh, cool.
Cancel every effing thing.
All 6 Oscar Mayer hot dog-shaped vehicles will race on the storied track for the first time ever. Each one representing a regional hot dog style. So you have the New York dog taking on the slaw dog. Each will try to make it to the wiener circle, where there will only be one wiener.
I hate the puns, but it's a great idea. And, of course, when the gal says historic track, she means Elko.
Oh, I think you said a different historic track.
No, it's the Indianapolis 500 this weekend. This is such a great idea. All six of them, the Wienermobiles will race against each other, like you heard this lady said. They'll be outfitted like hot dogs from various parts of America. For example, it says here the Southeast will get a slaw dog. Let me see what we're doing. Okay, so here are the Wienermobiles and the different styles of hot dog that they'll represent. The Chicago dog will represent the Midwest.
It appears that way.
I guess that makes sense.
And I love a Chicago dog. Bye, Dan.
Yeah, me too.
What again is a Chicago? Is that the one with chili on it?
No.
What's a Chicago dog?
They put a pickle on there and then some kind of wacky salt and pepper. I don't really know, Josh. All I know is I can deep throat them like a porn star.
Can you?
I just know there's a pickle on them.
There's a pickle in there and some kind of wacky salt and pepper. Tomato.
Very good.
You know my lack of food knowledge. The New York dog will represent the East Coast. Randy, do you have a favorite style of hot dog?
I don't, actually, no.
Do you practice hot dog consumption regularly?
I have, yes.
You don't anymore?
Not as much as I used to.
Oh, I still like to have. I have
I don't go too wild.
2-3 a week.
Oh, do you really?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. The slaw dog, like I said, will represent the Southeast. The Sonoran dog, anyone know? Will represent anyone?
No.
Chili dog represents the South. Seattle dog, whatever that represents the Northwest. The Weenie 500, they're calling it.
That's pretty fun, but after I was thinking about it, I think it'd be a lot more fun if they did a demolition derby with them all.
Wow.
That would be cool to see.
Maybe you'll get a crash.
Yeah.
You've seen wieners bashing into each other before on the beach.
Yeah, who are you trying to fool?
I have seen a head-on collision.
Yeah.
I have. I was front row for that.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Friggin' embarrassing. When you fall on another naked man.
Oh, my God.
Friggin' embarrassing. All right. People are texting in what's on a Chicago dog. Yeah, I love them. I don't really pay much attention. I just open up my Yap and give that hot dog much pleasure.
I'm with Babyface Destroyer Jesus, that chili cheese dog. That's where it's at.
Chili cheese.
Love it.
Jim and Joe's Chili Cheese Dogs. Used to be a booth at the State Fair many years ago. I wonder whatever happened to Jim and Joe's Chili Cheese Dogs. We would always make a mad dash for their booth. It was over by the Midway back in the day. Do you recall that, Josh?
I do.
It sounds great. I don't remember.
Oh, God. Yeah.
There were some, the ones you'd see every year. That was definitely one of them.
One trip to the fair, my pal Dane decided to have two.
Oh, was that one too many?
It was one too many.
Hope you didn't go down the slide.
They were foot long, some bitches.
Oh.
They were foot long and just covered. I mean, it was a meal. And Dane knocked down two, and then we got on the Gravitron.
What? Why?
I'm kidding. Of course we didn't get on the Gravitron. All All right,
we were talking about that. What's the promotion? The 999, or what do they call that at the Twins game, where it's 9 innings, 9 beers, 9 hot dogs?
Right.
Yeah.
And I told you my daughter wants to do it, and she knows she can't drink 9 beers, in that short amount of time. But she thinks she can do the 9 hot dogs.
Right.
And I mentioned I just don't think she can, and she legitimately was upset with me that I don't have faith in her she could go through with it. So I told her, we don't have to go to a Twins game for that to happen. So this summer, I'm going to see if she can prove that. I don't think there's any way
Get a
in
bucket.
2.5, 3 hours
Yeah.
she can eat 9 hot dogs.
Get a bucket. All right, Randy Shaver, tomorrow's our ultimate F-off day, so be there at 7:30 or not, whatever. You know what I mean?
Wow, I like that.
If you somehow miss it, we understand it's ultimate F-off day.
Okay.
Thanks, Pimp.
You bet.
We'll be back in a few minutes here on the program.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, if it isn't our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.
Actor Michael Rosenbaum, he knows some of the most talented people in the business.
Will Wheaton is here. I'm getting ready to do this podcast. I text my Star Trek family. That is a supernatural impulse.
If you're here for Jay Moore, you found the right place.
Have you always had a large personality?
The nicest way anybody's ever put it.
You always warn people out.
From Twilight, Ashley Green.
We were just like, no one's going to see this. This is not going to be a good movie.
I really love the movies.
Don't feel bad.
The Inside of You podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
If something should happen to one or both of us, I'd regret not having said this, so I'm just going to say it. You have a nice penis. I see it a lot, I don't say anything, but it's nice. Now, you say something nice about my penis.
I'll tell you. What is the deal now? We're back. We've hit the 8:32 mark of the program. We thank you for listening to the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. Oh, it's going to be a beautiful day. We got to talking about work earlier on this morning. What a pisser, huh?
Gets in the way of people's social lives, I've noticed.
We got to talking about work. Paid time off was part of our conversation. We went this way, we went that way. Who here has quit a job?
Well, I guess I've quit every job before this one, technically.
Yeah, same here.
You were
Never like out of anger, just, something came up or something better came along, school, that kind of thing.
Yeah, same with me.
Okay, so it was all, I believe the word is amicable?
Yeah.
Yeah, never rage quit or anything, but just moved on to the next thing.
Yep.
Well, you've never quit a job. You've been fired from all of them. Would you say that's a lot different?
It is.
That's the opposite, really.
Yeah. That's somebody quitting you.
Mm-hmm. Quitting on the idea of you.
Yeah, you're not a quitter.
I was going to go in that direction. When you've quit a job, was it ever a sudden thing where you upped and quit out of nowhere? Something angered you and you said, welp, that's it for me. But it sounds like the answer is no.
Oh, I guess maybe this counts. I just started working somewhere, so I maybe had like 3-4 shifts, and it was before
remember
the
that
4th of
gig.
July. Huh?
I remember that gig. That was miserable for you.
No, not that place.
Oh, the other miserable gig.
No, yeah, I think this was before I worked here. I'm not sure. But I got hired a couple weeks before the 4th of July, and I went in there one morning, and it was my last training shift. And they put up like what the schedule was going to be like for the next 2 weeks. And I went and checked it out, and I worked like every single day, all day, 4th of July weekend. And I thought, nah, that's just not going to work.
So
and I just walked out before anybody saw me for the day because I didn't want to talk to anybody.
You said nope.
Yep.
Walked out, never came back.
Yep. I was like,
never answered any more of their phone calls, nothing.
No.
Okay, so you have rage quit.
I was like, whatever. I'm not doing that.
Purple Belt Jesus said he's been off since April 7th from an injury, and he's dreading having to go back to work Tuesday. All he's done is hang out with the dogs, and he said it's been glorious.
Oh, I bet.
That sounds nice.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I quit one job. And I'm thinking of another now, but it was all amicable. I've never had like it, and I was fired from a job or two. So it's never been bad blood. You suddenly just say, I can't take this anymore and walk out. If you've, how do they put it here? I mean, I suppose the wording they use here is irrational reasons people have quit their jobs. Would you call Ashley's reaction irrational, Josh? She sees the schedule, she sees it's terrible, and she just walks out. That does seem kind of irrational.
It was probably dramatic.
You did not have a conversation with anybody. Dramatic, irrational. Josh, do you remember? Text us if you've kind of upped and quit, if it's a good story. 651-989-9393. Or maybe looking back now, you'd say, well, that was kind of irrational. Josh, do you remember the kid here in the building when we changed format? This is many years ago. When we changed format from alternative rock, The Edge, to hard rock, 93X, there was one kid who worked in the promotions department, and he was paid. I remember, maybe you were in the hallway. I was in the hallway. This promotions kid gets the news that we flipped format to hard rock, and he said, I can't do this anymore. I cannot support hard rock. The kid was so passionate about Bush and Alanis Morissette and Beck and all the alternative rock. He more or less threw his papers up in the work and said, up into the air and said, I quit.
No more Marcy's Playground? I'm out of here.
Right, and I thought he was joking at first, but he never came back, and it was strictly over the format change, which happens.
All right, then.
And, you know, if there's a format change here, a dramatic one someday, it's certainly something to consider. As an employee, I would consider if I would fit into that. And, of course, the bosses would consider whether or not I fit into the new format. But I don't think anything would happen where I would just suddenly say, well, I'm out.
Yeah, if they want to change format, okay. But there's
whatever.
There was a guy, and it's the guy that we've told the story many times that yelled, they're real about us one time. That guy quit because he said, we were both doing overnights. You know, he did a portion of it, I did the other portion of it. And I came in, and I really enjoyed working with this guy, even though he was a little volatile. And he's like, you know what? I can't do it anymore. How many 5-minute guitar solos can a guy play? And he was into not just like, Foo Fighters was too heavy for him, or Marcy Playground you mentioned. That was a little too much. He was like into the independent rock that nobody's ever heard of.
Yes.
Outside of very passionate fans.
He was very underground.
Yeah, very underground.
Oh,
and he wasn't pretentious about it. I guess maybe. I never took him as being a jerk or thinking he was better then. But, yeah, I'll never forget that line. He was tired of 5-minute guitar solos and said he's out.
That's funny. Now, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Got a text from a listener named Jared. I quit a job because the guy I worked with would eat chips all day with his mouth open. Ooh. That's the kind of thing.
Yeah, that's disgusting. I have a problem with that.
That's the kind of irrational reaction that I find very interesting. Most irrational reasons people have quit their jobs. Some of this stuff is, my damn. All right, I don't like people eating with their mouth open, but I don't know if I would, unless I already hated my job and I just needed one more reason.
Yeah.
And that's probably what happened here with Jared. Okay.
I agree. I bet that's what it was. That was just the final straw.
Some of this stuff, and maybe all of these examples are a final straw type of a situation. Here's someone who quit their job when they changed the coffee brand in the break room.
That sucks, I guess, yeah.
Another person quit their job suddenly when the bosses made everyone sing happy birthday to a coworker. He said, I hate forced joy. I
quit. It is awkward.
I've just never heard it phrased that way, but yeah, you're right. That forced happy birthday to you.
So a lot of these cases are probably a last straw thing. A lot of them, at least, I'm going to assume you're a young person. You're not relying on this job for your future or providing for a family.
Yeah.
You're a younger person. You can up and do things like this.
I wonder if this is true. This person said it wasn't me, but my coworker quit because I farted and they walked into it. They were pissed.
Really?
That's one hell of a fart.
So why'd you leave your last job? Well, I I walked through a fart.
Explain the gap in your resume.
I can't work there.
Dude, that's funny, too. A crop dusting forced me to switch careers. Okay, this must have been a young person. And I'm imagining they're working at a clothing retail store. The music playlist looped around every 90 minutes. Oh. The songs were torturing me like I was a prisoner of war.
Oh, when I worked it was my first job ever. When I was like a little girl's clothing store. And the mixtape made me want to end it all. Oh, my gosh.
I can see how that would make you nuts
and
all
it was
day
around
long.
Christmas time, too. So bad.
Cutesy
so bad.
children's Christmas songs would force me to maybe choke out a complete stranger.
Yeah, actually, I'm in the same boat. When I worked at Camp Snoopy, one of my first jobs, Camp Snoopy for you young people out there, it's what they used to call Nickelodeon Universe back when it was really cool. Camp Snoopy ruled. But they played, it was a satellite radio mix of whatever the top 10 top 40 hits were at that time in the summer, and they played it on a loop, 1 hour loop every hour of your entire 8-hour shift. So you heard those songs a good 7-8 times a day, and oh man, when I hear those songs, I get some evil flashbacks.
You probably began unconsciously putting together some kind of a murder pack that you'd put in the trunk of your car
right.
in case you ever ran into the Backstreet Boys
exactly.
or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Here's an individual. We're talking about irrational reasons people have quit their jobs, and I guess some of you would consider it irrational. Others would say, hey, that's good enough reason for me. It depends on who you are. One individual said the building he was working in eliminated air conditioning.
Oh, that would get me to quit real fast.
Yeah, 100%.
And this is hilarious. The individual says, look, it was July. I'm not Amish. A customer said to me, I looked like I hated my life. She was right, so I quit.
So sad. I'm sorry.
Again, 651-989-9393. If you have a quick little tale of quitting your job suddenly, like I said, irrational is a matter of opinion, I guess, whether or not you think your reason for quitting was irrational or not. But obviously, the more dramatic the story, the better. Oh, and we can't help it. We have to tell the story of a former coworker here he's passed on. You say the name. I don't want to say the name.
Well, I don't know what you're going to say afterwards, so I don't know if we want to give away the name.
The irrational quitting.
Oh, I was thinking of the one that actually passed on. Yes, Ross. Okay.
We've had a coworker that's actually passed on?
Yeah, so I thought perhaps that's who you were referring to.
No, I'm joking around, of course. I enjoy that joke. You tell it best when the dude irrationally quit, but then didn't.
Oh, yeah, well, I wish I could remember what prompted this.
We were just having your typical
was it an
coworker
on or off-air thing?
I don't recall. You mean what started the
what started it?
I don't remember. All I know is we were vehemently arguing.
Yeah, you guys were going at it.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if it was on air, off air, what it was, but you're going, and things were very heated. And when the mics went off, this is Ross, he stood up and was like, F you, Nick.
Right? Called me an a-hole.
Called you an a-hole. He storms out, he opens the door, and you said, I'll see you Monday. Knowing that he was not really going to
Which I knew really pissed him off.
Oh, yeah. That one made me sink in my chair a little bit. That was
see you Monday.
And then about, 5 seconds later, the door opens and here he is. I'm like, wow, it was even quicker than Monday. But he wasn't even embarrassed by this. He forgot his car keys. He got so mad and he stormed out that he didn't think to grab his car keys.
And
so
I think
he grabbed them, kicks the door open again, and says, F you, Nick, and walked away.
Yep.
I don't know if I would have come back for the car keys. I think I might have just Ubered home at that point.
Yeah, I would have walked.
And who was the first guy in the building on Monday?
That was him.
That sumbitch. Here are some listeners who have texted in, 651-989-9393. You can always get a hold of us with that friggin' telephone number. Listeners who have dramatically, suddenly quit a job. And here's why. Quit my job at a fast food joint. I was only 15. The boss wanted me to clean up kid vomit. I handed the manager my name tag, and I left immediately. Didn't want to mop up any puke.
We were talking about the ball pit the other day. Imagine the puke in the ball pit. How would you go about cleaning that up?
Yeah, I bet that took some skill.
Yeah.
I had to mop up puke a couple times when I was driving the Zamboni because I had to clean the stands at the end of the night, Josh.
When I worked at a movie theater, there was puke that had to be cleaned up. Kid usually eating too much candy of some sort.
Oh, I could never do that.
I'm not fat. I'm aerodynamic. Jesus quit a trucking job because they lowered the governed speed from 67 to 65.
Those 2 miles per hour made a difference.
Are you friggin' serious? Kid worked at a fast food joint. He was the lead cook. Made friends with all of his coworkers there at the fast food joint. Right. Mm-hmm. But one night, all of his coworkers were allowed to leave early, and they were going to Hooters. Our listener was not allowed to leave early. He had worked there for almost a year, but when he found out he was not going to be joining his coworkers at Hooters, he quit.
You can't go to Hooters and not bring everybody.
I worked at the same job. Here's a listener who says, I worked at the same job. I almost misrepresented this listener. I worked for 20 days straight at one point, says this listener. Then something or another happened on the job, and his boss told him to suck it up. And I said, no, you suck it up. And I walked out.
Still waiting on that heifer, Julio. You. You're cool. And you, I'm out.
Dana, you were mentioning earlier that you had a career in the entertainment business far before you got into radio. Mm-hmm. You were over there at Camp Snoopy.
Yes.
And you ran, what was the gimmick you ran again?
Like the Midway games,
Midway games.
You throw a ping pong ball into a floating dish of water.
Yeah.
Defies the laws of physics that would ever actually land in one of them, those types of things.
All right, here's a listener who also worked at the Mall of America at one point or another at the Mystery Mine Ride.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And they said, I got real tired of Free Ride by the Edgar Winter Group.
They played that one a lot, huh?
Playing over and come on and take a free ride.
Yeah, I bet that could drive you nuts.
That could.
Same song.
Definitely.
Chugged up plumber Jesus was doing some oil changes, hated his job. One day he was supposed to work, but, he was offered mushrooms from a friend, so he no-showed and just quit that day. I got mushrooms.
Yeah, rude to say no to that.
Another listener who spent some time in the food service industry, Swanee. This is Swanee who texted in. He was running the fried chicken stand there at a grocery store or something. What does this say? 5 minutes to close. Fryer had already been cleaned. The boss comes in with his sister. The boss comes in with the boss's sister and demands that Swanee put together a 20-piece meal. Fryer had already been cleaned. Mm-hmm. 5 minutes to close. Goodbye, Swanee. He walked smooth out of the joint.
Yeah, you know how the thing works, Swanee. I'm out.
You're the boss. Make your sister a friggin' 20-piece bucket on your own.
It'd be awful.
I do think he was trying to show how powerful he was to his sister. Look what I can make these guys do.
You're very skilled, Josh, at reading between the lines.
Unfortunately, I had a friend who did that exact, not that scenario, but a very similar scenario. He worked a corporate for a restaurant. He liked to go in and lay down the law in front of other people.
In front of his friends and family
Exactly.
to show, hey, look, you guys,
was pretty douchey.
I'm running this operation.
Carpet Jesus quit a job in Woodbury because his buddy wanted to smoke a bowl, and he said, all right, I quit. I got a bowl to smoke. Mushrooms, marijuana.
I have two things. I have a buddy, and I have a bowl.
You know what I don't have anymore? A job. I quit.
We're discussing suddenly, dramatically, maybe even irrationally quitting a job. This sounds troubling. One of our listeners says, my boss always told jokes about his penis.
Worrisome, yeah.
And I couldn't do it anymore. So, after one of his famous end-of-meeting penis jokes, I went into his office and I quit.
Is that normal?
His famous end of meeting penis jokes.
Yeah, I guess he closed out a lot of meetings with a good dick joke.
And he probably rehearsed them ahead of time, like many times. Like, oh, I got to have a good one for tomorrow.
MacGyver Jesus said he's rage quit his current job 3 times. And every time when he did, he's gotten a raise when he got back. And so he said, I may possibly rage quit today. Yeah, a little extra summer money.
One of our listeners says, when I got hired, they promised me I would never work Super Bowl Sunday. But one day they sprung it on me, and I said, now remember our agreement? And they said, well, yeah, but we need you to show up. And I said, okay, goodbye.
Yeah, if you made that agreement, that's a nice agreement, too.
Yeah, it's funny how bosses can forget those things along the way. Like, oh, I don't remember that.
One of our listeners claims, and I believe them, they rage quit a job, and they said it was effing awesome. Here's what happened. They walked in with a terrible overhang. Boss started bitching at me right away. I just looked at her and said, you are a bitch.
Huh?
I then grabbed a huge stack of checks, and I launched them up into the air. And I walked out. I like that kind of a dramatic exit. You
that's fun.
Sweep something off of a desk or tip something over. Some of you have done regretful things, but I bet it felt good in the moment.
Yeah, and it was probably a long time coming.
Long time coming.
Till that reality sets in a little bit later, and then you're like, oh, now what?
Oh, by the way, before we go, you know how earlier we were talking about one of our listeners was highest bidder on the famous Kirby Puckett candy bar from 30 years ago. They were highest bidder on eBay, and they've offered it up to us, and we'll see how that turns out. We told them, thank you for being the highest bidder and offering it to us. We'll get back to you. We'll try to come up with something to do with that Kirby Puckett candy bar. A listener texted in and said, this might not be as cool as the Puckett candy bar, but I have a THC-infused Jesse Ventura Governor brand candy bar.
Oh, that's what he's doing these days. That's right.
Signed by Jesse the Body himself.
That's pretty sweet.
I didn't know they were... Maybe I did know they were putting THC in candy bars. Did I know that, Josh?
Yeah, you knew that.
Did I know that?
Yep. You just eat too many of them, and you forget. You're forgetting things nowadays.
Very interesting stuff.
Congratulations to Korean Jesus checking in on his way to Denver to start an internship in the construction management department. Never been a cool kid, Jesus. He gets today's Nice Guy Award. He said he wants to give a birthday shout-out not to himself, but for anyone in the brother and sisterhood who has a birthday today. So if you have a birthday today and you weren't able to text in your shout-out, never been a cool kid, Jesus, would like you to have a good one, as would we. Happy 25th to Andrew the Sandcastle Jesus from Gage the Landscaper Jesus. We're off next week, so a early happy birthday shout-out to Medical Device Shipping Jesus, who will be 39 a week from today. And a thank you for putting up with us until Lindsay takes over. Right now, on the Luther Bloomington Kia text line, text the keyword WHISPER, 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 to 651-989-9393 for a chance to win tickets to the 93X Family Reunion featuring Evanescence with special guests Poppy, Dorothy, and Black Map. That show's Friday, September 19th at the X. Then you qualify for a grand prize VIP soundcheck party with Evanescence, courtesy of Ledge Entertainment. Tickets officially on sale now. You can head over to 93x.com and click the concert link for more info.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
Well, if it isn't our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.